are going to go through every ailment there is. You can't be worrying about that, because if we can keep worrying about the trouble that the masses are in, we never cultivate anything among ourselves to get to the high level in which the masses going to be a part of. Because ultimately, all this shit got to be destroyed. This shit is over.
I am inevitable.
Push the button. Come on, push the button.
Yeah, come on.
Push the button. Come on, push the button.
Yeah, come on, push your button.
Push the goddamn button.
Push the goddamn button.
Y'all better push that like button. We are live. We are back again.
We live.
Come on in, y'all. Come on in. We got to get into it.
Let's get it.
All right. Come on in. Come on in. We got a lot to cover real quick. So I guess Donald Trump was ordered to ordered to stand down. I even seen the Pope telling him to stand down. So when the Pope tells you to stand down, you got to stand down. Come on in, y'all. Come on in. Double tap the screen. We got to get into it. All right. So Trump basically, back down on that order that he was going to, wipe out the Iran civilization. He caught a lot of backlash from, everybody around the world, but I feel like this was a tactic to manipulate the market, because I'm seeing the market being manipulated just by him saying certain things, bro. I'm like, oh, is this what it's really about? You trying to manipulate the market, trying to say things to manipulate the market? Because that's what I'm gathering from this. But we're gonna get more into that.
That's what it looks like.
All right. We're gonna get more into it, but let's go ahead and start off with why the mainstream media is saying Trump. Damn, they trying to make you to watch this shit? Really? Oh no, that's a different video. Tripping. Tripping. All right, why is it not going back? Oh, because it's switching video. All right, here we go. All right, we pull. All right, hold on, y'all. All right, let's go ahead and get into it.
9th day of Donald Trump's war with Iran. And tonight he has backed off his own threats to wipe out the country. So let's take you through the day. This morning, the president posted that, quote, a whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back again if Iran didn't open the Strait of Hormuz. Then about 90 minutes before his own deadline, Trump announced a 2-week ceasefire deal with Iran. He said he will suspend bombing for 2 weeks if and only if Iran agrees to completely open the strait. It is the 5th time he has pushed back his deadline for strikes on Iran's power plants. The president also said the U.S. received a 10-point peace proposal from Iran, and he believes it is a workable basis on which to negotiate. It is a massive change from a month ago when he demanded unconditional surrender. Well, tonight, Iran said its retaliation would stop if attacks against Iran are also halted. The statement also said, quote, for a period of 2 weeks, safe passage to the Strait of Hormuz will be possible via coordination with Iran's armed forces and with due consideration of technical limitations. Now, all eyes are going to be on the strait in the hours and days to come as we all wait to see if the ceasefire will hold and if tankers actually want to take the plunge and what could come next. All right, now let's get smarter with the help of our lead-off panel this evening. Scott McFarlane is here in person for the very first time.
So let me
Chief
stop
Washington
this,
correspondent
'cause I wanna
for
switch.
Midas Touch and host.
I don't want to stay on that. I wanted to switch real quick because let me switch to this real quick. So this is Pope Leo calls Trump Iran threat truly unnecessary. So let's get into this real quick, because this is major that the Pope spoke out and told this nigga to stand down. Let's get into it.
Today, as we all know, there has also been this threat against the entire people of Iran, and this is truly unacceptable. There are certainly issues of international law here, but even more so a moral issue for the good of the whole entire population. And I would like to invite everyone to truly think in their hearts about the many innocent people, so many children, so many elderly, completely innocent, who would also become victims of this escalation of a war that began from the very first days, as we were saying.
Ha cominciato già dai primi giorni, dicevamo, asking all people of goodwill to search always for peace and not violence, to reject war, especially a war which many people have said is an unjust war, which is continuing to escalate and which is not resolving anything. In fact, we have a worldwide economic crisis, energy crisis, situation in the Middle East of great instability, which is only provoking more hatred throughout the world. So come back to the table. Let's talk. Let's look for solutions in a peaceful way. And let's remember, especially the innocent, children, the elderly, the sick, so many people who have already become or will become victims of this continued warfare. To remind all that attacks on civilian infrastructure is against international law, but that it is also a sign of the hatred, the division, the destruction that the human being is capable of. And we all want to work for peace. People want peace. I would invite the citizens of all the countries involved to contact the authorities, political leaders, congressmen, to ask them, tell them to work for peace and to reject war always. Thank you very much.
So that was the Pope basically telling Trump, stand down. This is not, like I said though. I feel like they just basically use it as the tactic to keep manipulating the stock market. Because I'm seeing people buying $1.5 billion S&P on the oil, and I'm seeing all these movements being made while all this shit is being said in the media. So I'm like, yeah, it's just still another tactic for them to manipulate the market. Maybe he was never going to bomb Iran, like wipe out Iran civilization. I don't know, bro. What you think? You think that's market tactic? Because at the end of the day, that's what it really be about.
Yeah, he could have used that, that beef against Iran to manipulate the market. Trump is in there for money first, for himself and for his family.
Yeah.
So we got realize that Trump is an opportunist. He don't care about the American people. He don't care about the American economy. All he care about is Trump's family economy.
Right.
That's what he cares about. We have to understand what type of guy this is. This dude would do anything to stay in power, anything to keep his family wealthy, even if it means robbing from the American people, even if it means, putting stuff out there to manipulate the market, which he does, which a lot of them do. A lot of them do this.
Yeah, right. And it's all in support of Israel, which I'm gonna pull up a video of Nixon himself saying that no matter who's in office, Democrat or Republican, they would never let Israel fail. They would never let Israel fall, no matter what party's in office. So I'm gonna pull that up with Nixon. But let's get into this real quick, because this is very interesting. That for y'all that voted for this guy, even though it don't matter who was in there, because we're going to get into Kamala as well. But this is stuff he was saying before he got in office and after, which means he don't really control shit. Let's get into it.
Start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars. Lay down your arms and receive full immunity or face certain death. She would get us into a World War III guaranteed, and then all of your sons and daughters will end up getting drafted to go fight for a war in a country that you've never heard of. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission. We go to war, we bomb the crap out of it, and then we leave. It's almost like, what are we doing? What did we get? We got nothing. We destroyed. We bombed the hell out of everything. We're going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to bring them back to the Stone Ages where they belong. I'd love my legacy to be made as a great peacemaker, because I really believe I'm a peacemaker. It doesn't seem it right now, but I think I'm a peacemaker. We're giving them till tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern time. And after that, they're going to have no bridges. They're going to have no power plants. Stone Ages, yeah. They said he will start a war. I'm not going to start a war. I'm going to stop wars.
That's basically telling you right there that Israel is still in control no matter who's in office. You can say you don't want war or you want, but if they you know put you in position, you gotta do what they say. That's basically what this is all about. He want no war. He want peace. Remember, he's the peaceful guy. Now he bombing the hell out of everything. That just shows you right there he has no goddamn control. Like we said, no control. Nobody in that office has control over anything. They don't.
Bro, I was doing a little bit of research earlier about Trump's family. Come to find out, Trump's dad was a big supporter of Israel.
See?
Like they made a lot of money with Israel, like for Israel, with Israel in New York, to the
See?
point where his dad was sort of hiding his German heritage
Right.
because
Wow.
just so he don't mess up business relationship with Jewish people.
So was his dad a contributor to World War II and all that? I'm pretty sure he was.
What, his dad?
Yeah,
I'm not
being a
sure about
German.
that information, but he definitely was a big supporter of Israel and you know all the Jews that's in New York City. That he was. That's how they got that's one of the ways how they got their wealth, dealing with
Yeah,
that community.
right.
So this is in Trump's roots to deal with Israel.
Yeah,
His family made a great
the
fortune dealing
foundation.
with. Yup.
Right.
His family made a big fortune dealing with them.
Oh, so they basically laid down the foundation for him to
Right.
continue
Facts.
to work with Israel.
You got it.
Okay.
You got it.
Okay.
And y'all can look
Uh,
this up because y'all can look this up if y'all want to. Y'all could Google it. Y'all could chat GPT it. Trump's dad's relationship with the Jews in New York and
Right.
Israel. Y'all can look that up yourselves. So
Wow.
it's family tradition.
Yeah. Well, it's like America's tradition to deal with Israel.
Facts.
Period. Like
Facts.
since they set up the state of Israel, the Zionist movement, America's been in bed with them ever since.
Right.
And so with Nixon, I'm going to get into what Nixon said, but I want to get into Kamala's response to Trump when he announced that he was going to bomb civilization, because I want to call out the hypocrisy in Kamala Harris as well, because she's up there acting like because they all in support of Israel, and she's acting like that she wouldn't have did the same thing, that she wouldn't have took the same orders, basically being if she became president. But as we see, none of them can act on their own. They got to take orders from Israel. So she said the president of the United States is threatening to commit war crimes and wipe out a whole civilization, all because he started disastrous war of his own, of his own, making it had no plan or no strategy for how it ended. Um, this is inherent, and American people do not support this. Trump reckless and needlessly putting our brave service members in harm's way, destroying America's global standing, making life even more unaffordable for American people. We must all stand against this and oppose funding this illegal war of choice. So this is Kamala Harris, stating that what Trump is doing, which we all agree on, of course, but she acting like she would have did something different in there. Man, you was all for Iran. You was all for going after Iran as well. Can we pull it up?
Please,
Can we
yeah.
can we
Let's
pull
do
it
that.
up?
Let's show them because people say, y'all should have voted for Kamala. And we telling y'all it wouldn't have made no difference. We've been
Can,
telling
can
y'all that for the longest.
so let's get into this.
Let's
Madam
get
Vice
into it.
President,
Let me know if y'all can hear it.
two more things.
Yep.
You were asked on 60 Minutes about the biggest threat that the world faces, that the U.S. faces. This is what you said.
Which foreign country do you consider to be our greatest adversary?
I think there's an obvious one in mind, which is Iran. Iran has American blood on their hands. Okay. this
Where?
attack on
Where?
Israel, 200 ballistic missiles. What we need to do to ensure that Iran never achieves the ability to be a nuclear power, that is one of my highest priorities.
A number of experts thought you would say China. The FBI director had said that, but you said Iran. If that's the case, what do you say to critics who look at the actions of your administration and say you're not acting like Iran is the #1 threat?
Well, I will tell you most recently, whether it was in April or in October, and then several hours on each occasion that Iran posed a threat to Israel, I was there. Most recently in the Situation Room, in the most recent attack.
Peep what she's
working
saying, y'all.
with the
Right.
heads of our
Peep
military,
what she's saying.
doing what America
Hold on,
must
pause that
always
real
do.
quick. This is important. They
defend
can't
and
miss
to-
this. Peep
Right.
what she's saying. Dude asked her who's the biggest threat to America. And she's talking about Iran, but then she goes on to say, because Iran attacked Israel. So how is that
Yeah,
a
right.
biggest threat to America? And then she continues the conversation going on how Iran is a big threat to Israel, but not to
Right.
the United States. Y'all get, so basically she's not different. She's not stating the difference between America and Israel. Basically, when you attack Israel, that is like attacking
Attacking
America.
America.
That's
Right.
basically what she's saying.
And peep what he said though. He said, "I thought you would have said China."
Facts.
Peep what the reporter said though. When she said, "Who's the biggest threat to who's the biggest threat right now to America?" and she goes to say, Iran, and he said, "I thought you would have said China." That's crazy. That's crazy right there. Let's continue though.
support Israel in its requirement to defend itself and to give American support to be able to allow Israel to have the resources to defend itself against attack, including from Iran and Iran's terrorist proxies in the region.
Right.
And that
But those
is,
proxies were getting
and
funded
my
by Iran.
commitment to that is unyielding and unwavering.
Critics just say that you either relaxed or failed to enforce sanctions on Iran, allowing all of this money to flow into Iran, like billions.
Let's
in
go back to
oil
Donald
profits.
Trump, who pulled out of a deal that would have actually put
But here are
Iran in check.
the estimates
and then
in billions
it was during Donald Trump's
that go
administration
towards
that
the Iran regime.
that we had an American military base that was attacked, where American soldiers suffered traumatic brain injuries, and Donald Trump dismissed them as headaches, not to mention
Madam
how
Vice
Donald
President,
Trump has
all of this money
has treated
that
and
has
talked
gone
about
in the
America's
past few
military
years,
and military service people,
critics
calling
say
them
that it goes to
suckers and
Hezbollah,
losers,
Hamas,
has diminished
and
the
Houthis. We're
significance.
talking over each other. I apologize.
I would like that we would have a conversation that is grounded in full assessment of the facts.
Hold on,
which
pause this real
includes-
quick.
I think this
You see, she start talking over him when he talked about the money that was sent over
Yeah,
there
let
to
me bring that
Israel
back.
that funded Hamas.
Yeah, let me exactly. Yo, y'all got
See how she
people
tried to stop. You see how she tried to talk over him now?
Right.
It ain't, no, she ain't it. Somebody says she's an idiot. Nah, she ain't an idiot. She's just trying to cover up her tracks. It's trying to cover up the fact that that money that we've been sending to Israel been funding Hamas too. So that means Israel's even behind Hamas.
Exactly. Yo,
They acting like Hamas is
right.
Palestine, but really Hamas is being ran by Israel. That's what y'all have to understand. They will attack themselves
and
just so they can invade Iran.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, Hezbollah and they all sponsored by Israel. People, what he said though, he was trying to get it out, and she was trying to just talk over him when he's saying all that money. Yeah, we sending to Israel is actually funding the enemy as well, their supposed enemy. Peep it.
that is grounded in full assessment of the facts, which includes, I think this interview is supposed to be about the choices that your viewers should be presented about this election, and the contrast is important.
Yes, ma'am.
And on the subject of Iran,
let me bring it back.
Full assessment of the facts.
Hold on.
There you go. All of this money.
Soldiers suffered traumatic
My
brain
bad,
injuries, and Donald Trump dismissed them as headaches, not to mention
Madam
how
Vice
Donald
President,
Trump has,
all of this money
has treated
that
and
has
talked
gone
about
in the
America's
past few
military
years,
and military service people,
critics
calling them
say that it goes to
suckers and
Hezbollah,
losers,
Hamas,
has diminished
and
the
Houthis. We're
significance.
talking over each other. I
Well,
apologize.
I would like that we would have a conversation that is grounded in full assessment of the facts, which includes, I think this interview is supposed to be about the choices that your viewers should be presented about this election, and the contrast is important.
Yes, ma'am.
And on the subject of Iran, I am offering what should be an important contrast that is presented for folks to make a
And there
decision
are
that
critics
they
who
feel.
look at what the administration did and say and think differently. Madam Vice President, they're wrapping me very hard here. I hope you got to say what you wanted to say about Donald Trump.
All right, let me read this real quick because I think people's kind of. Let me see if I can. All right, so I had to Google this real quick. So this is about Iran and that the whole nuclear thing. So it says as of 2026, Iran is considered a nuclear threshold state that has not officially obtained a nuclear weapon, though it has possessed about 60% enriched uranium to create multiple bombs and further enriched to 90%. While maintaining a largely civilian focused program, Iran's infrastructure has enabled to operate near a breakout threshold. So weaponization status. As of mid 2025, Iran did not have confirmed active weaponization program, but stockpile highly enriched uranium was significant. So they haven't obtained no nuclear weapons at all. They're saying they have the potential to build one, but they haven't built one. They haven't even attempted they don't even have a nuclear program to even build one. So what is this really about?
You know who do have one though? Israel.
Fact.
United States helped, and the thing is, this is what y'all have to understand. Everything that they're about Iran, Israel is actually the one that's guilty of all that stuff. Israel is they actually projecting. When Israel say, "Oh, Iran is a threat to this, Iran got nukes, Iran got," really Israel should be pointing the finger at themselves because they're literally the epitome of what they say Iran is. That's the crazy part behind all this.
They haven't obtained no.
That's why they doing it, but that's a form of psychological warfare, though.
Right. Yeah, that is part of psychological warfare. Fact.
Yeah, you pretend your enemy is as dirty as you are, but you the dirty one.
Right.
But you got the power to manipulate the media because you see who owns the media. Just look at the list that Kanye held up when he was talking about all the different people who own the different medias. And it was always a certain group of people. Would you like to call them little hats?
Little hat community.
So if they got the power to control the media globally, then they can actually put that propaganda on Iran, but really Israel is the one that's guilty of all of that stuff. But they able to try to fool the world because they got the media under their thumb that they control. See, that's what we have to start analyzing and seeing. That's the big picture right there. So that's why Israel is so aggressive against Iran. And of course they got the United States help because all the Oval Office in the United States is owned by Israel. Our intelligence agency is owned by Israel.
You're right. Look, it's no different. I'm trying to prove to y'all it don't matter if Democrat is in there or Republican in there. It doesn't matter.
Iran.
And if the Ayatollah doesn't understand
hold on, bro. Hold on. You sent me something. Hold on. We just got off of Kamala, right? But and she was for attacking Iran, right?
Yeah.
But you sent me something earlier showing that, all of a sudden she got a problem with Trump is doing to Iran, but her whole campaign at one point was about attacking Iran.
Right.
But since Trump is doing it, now all of a sudden she's against it. Yeah, you gotta show her hypocritical.
Right.
Yeah. You sent me that John earlier. Did you pull it up?
Yeah, I think I did. Was that the interview we just watched?
Nah, not the interview. Nah.
Oh, okay. It was a video, another video.
No. Kamala is bashing Trump right now for attacking Iran. You sent me something earlier. About that.
Hold on. Hold on, let me
She
see.
just came out just recently talking about how
Yeah, well,
Trump,
that's what I read. That was the tweet I just read.
yeah.
Yeah, her tweet. Yeah, that
That
was the
just goes to
tweet.
show you how hypocritical that these people are.
Oh yeah,
She's
I ain't
bashing Trump.
right.
She's literally bashing Trump about
That's
something that she claimed that she would have did if she would have took office. But
yeah,
now since
right.
it's being frowned upon, all of a sudden she want to say, "Oh, why is he attacking Iran like that?" When she just said a couple of years ago that Iran is the biggest threat to the United States. That's
Yeah,
why we trying to tell y'all these people aren't Democrat or Republican. Their views change up whatever benefits their bank account or whatever benefits their standing with Israel.
yeah, the
And
power
then
structure.
is about who she's married to also.
Right.
The big
That's
pharmaceutical little hat guy.
right.
So we
So
got
let's continue.
that's the stuff y'all got. Yeah, let's continue. But y'all gotta pay attention now.
Make sure y'all double tapping this screen and liking this video or hitting the like button. All right.
Iran. And if the Ayatollah doesn't understand that, we may have to help introduce him to his 72 virgins.
When this regime goes down, we're going to have a new Mideast. We're going to make a ton of money.
We are on the edge of a second Holocaust.
We cannot ever allow a second Holocaust. But we can never allow a second Holocaust. We cannot allow a second Holocaust. Second Holocaust, second Holocaust, second Holocaust, second Holocaust, second Holocaust.
Guest says that the only way to make sure Iran doesn't get a nuclear bomb is to bomb them.
If somebody doesn't act to preempt the Iranian progress toward nuclear weapons, they will have them at a time of their choosing.
The danger from Iran is grave. It is real. And my goal will be to eliminate this threat.
And when you threaten the region and Israel, you threaten America, 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 America.
So there's an atomic weapon goes over ballistic missiles in the middle of the desert that doesn't hurt a soul, doesn't hurt a soul, doesn't hurt a soul, doesn't hurt a soul. Maybe a couple of rattlesnakes and scorpions or whatever.
And we have to be willing to use a military option to stop Iran from becoming nuclear.
I think if you have to hit Iran, you don't put boots on the ground. You do it with tactical nuclear devices, and you set them back a decade.
Tough, direct message to Iran that if you don't change your behavior, then there will be dire consequences.
Which foreign country do you consider to be our greatest adversary?
I think there's an obvious one in mind, which is Iran.
We will not allow Iran to acquire a nuclear weapon.
And I want the Iranians to know that if I'm the president, we will attack Iran.
I'm concerned about Iran, not only because of what they've attempted for years to try to do in Iraq, but also because they're aggressively pursuing nuclear weapons.
So, Mr. President, hit Iran and hit them now and hit them hard to protect Americans in harm's way. Who wins the war between us and Iran? We win. We win. We win. We win.
Both. Y'all gotta peep. This is Democrat and Republicans. This is both of them supporting the same ideas. They all support Israel. Let me pull up Nixon real quick because Nixon made a interesting point. Let me pull up Nixon back then real quick in the 70s. This showing you here, man. Y'all gotta wake the fuck up and stop thinking that these two-party systems is separated from each other. They're not. They're not. And you notice I'm glad whoever edited that video showed that all the shit they saying Iran is doing, Israel is actively doing right now. They're actively doing what they claiming Iran is doing. They're actively doing that shit. So what are we talking about here? That's crazy to me. This is Nixon in the 70s. Let's get into what he said. Listen closely to what Nixon said in this. All right? I got to pay, close attention.
You make the observation in your book, and you say that you have said it many times when you were president of the United States, that no president is ever going to desert Israel, right?
Correct. I put it more bluntly. I said, as I told congressional leaders during the 1973 Yom Kippur War, no American president will let Israel go down the tube.
All right.
Democrat or Republican, it's not an issue.
That is stated fairly categorically, and yet in your book you make it clear, fairly categorically. That is stated fairly
A Republican, it's not an issue.
All right.
Democrat or Republican, let Israel go down the tube. American president will Kippur War. No American president will let Israel go down the tube.
All right.
Democrat or Republican, it's not an issue.
That
No American president will let Israel go down the tube.
All right.
Democrat or Republican, it's not an issue.
That is
No American president will let Israel go down the tube.
all right.
Democrat or Republican, it's not an issue.
That is stated fairly categorically, and yet in your book you make it.
Bro, listen, man. Y'all gotta wake the fuck up when we be telling y'all. This two-party system is some bullshit. This is Nixon This is Nixon back then saying no president, no matter if Democrat or Republican is going, they all going to support Israel regardless of. So like we said, what the fuck? Iran is not a threat to America. They ain't a threat to no goddamn body because they ain't haven't attacked no goddamn body. So what are we talking about? At this point, they was just out of defense.
And all of the attacks is done by Israel to Israel. Israel will attack themselves and then blame it on Iran. That's the type of shit they do. Just like they attack themselves and then blame it on Palestine. Like that's the type of government that's behind Israel. And I don't think the people of Israel even realize that. Some of them do because all of them ain't on board with what they government do over there. And that's something they ain't gonna show you in the media. Not every citizen over there is on board with what they're doing. I mean, it's a lot of brainwashed ones over there, majority, but there's still some that can see eyes and know that Israel themselves is funding Hamas. But yeah, it proves right here that what we was telling y'all, the Oval Office is owned by Israel. We've been telling y'all that.
One more time.
No American.
This is Nixon. One more time.
1973 Yom Kippur War. No American president will let Israel go down the tube.
All right.
Democrat or Republican, it's not an issue.
That is stated fairly categorically, and yet in your book you make it clear at the same time that Israel really is not of any enormous strategic value to the United States anymore.
That's correct.
So why then?
Nixon said Israel is no fucking value to America, Yo, what the fuck? This is crazy. This is crazy. I've seen somebody here say they just remember watching this. That's how old they are. That's crazy. Let me bring that shit back one more time, bro. And this is President Nixon, somebody that was the fucking president of the United States.
Yom Kippur War. No American president will let Israel go down the tube.
All right.
Democrat or Republican, it's not an issue.
That is stated fairly categorically, and yet in your book you make it clear at the same time that Israel really is not of any enormous strategic value to the United States anymore.
That's correct.
So why then would the United States continue to burden itself with huge loans, in some cases outright grants, to the Israelis, jeopardize possibly young American fighting men when there is no strategic value involved, or little strategic
Because the
value?
United States is concerned by more than strategic values. That's maybe a weakness, but it's the way we are. And there are moral issues involved here. We don't have an alliance with Israel, as you know. They're not an ally of the United States in the technical sense. But we have a bond.
Can I bring that back? Can I bring that back with what Nixon just said? Israel don't give a fuck about America. They don't. Y'all gotta realize what we just said. Nixon basically sitting up here telling you Israel don't give a fuck about America. They not really our allies at all. That's what he's telling you.
There are moral issues involved here. We don't have an alliance with Israel, as you know. They're not an ally of the United States in the technical sense. But we have a bond to Israel that's much stronger. It's a moral commitment because of what happened during the Holocaust, and a moral commitment because it is a democracy, the only democracy in that area. And under the circumstances, that is why American presidents and the American people in the future will support all out the survival of Israel if it's attacked.
You've always been a very tough, pragmatic man. And I just wonder if you were the president of Israel and you heard Richard Nixon talking that way, or for that matter, heard any sitting American president talk that way, and say, but there's really no strategic value anymore, how much faith would you place in that kind of a moral commitment if push really came to shove?
If I were the president of Israel, I put a great deal of faith in it because of the track record of the United States, and also because he would know that that is the way the American people are. There is no doubt whatever of our commitment to Israel.
It's crazy, bro. That's insane. That's insane shit. Wow.
So we can't be focused on the faces that they show us. Just know that in America, they all support Israel in that Oval Office, and any of those offices up there in the political offices. And if the ones that don't support Israel in those political offices, they get blackmailed by people like.
Right.
And that's what this is about. And that's another reason why they trying to cover up Epstein tracks, and they using Trump and his new attorney general to do that, even though the American people is saying we need to release those redacted names of Epstein's clients. Oh yeah, we can still protect the victims' names and their identities, but we need to know the clients of Epstein. Yeah, Epstein is so-called dead or whatever, allegedly, but it's still victims out there, and there's still other predators out there that work with Epstein and their names been redacted from all the files, or their activities. A lot of maybe they name haven't, but their activities, a lot of their activities been redacted, and some names have been redacted. So that's another thing that Trump is doing for Israel, because Epstein worked with Israel, because Israel's owned by the Rockefellers and Rothschilds, and what's the name worked with both the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds. Epstein.
Yeah, Epstein. Yeah.
He worked with both directly. And he said this out of his own mouth. So this is what we trying to tell you. And the Rothschilds said it out their own mouth that they set up the state of Israel, the one that you see today. In 1948, it was set up by the Zionist movement, and the leader of the Zionist movement around that time was Walter Rothschild.
Yep.
From the Rothschild banking dynasty.
Yep.
And that's what Epstein worked for.
That's directly worked for it. Like directly.
Directly worked
middle.
For them.
David Rockefeller was
for
the
Israel.
direct. Right.
It's becoming very clear. Someone inside the Trump administration or someone with insider knowledge is making bank betting on predictions of what's going to happen next. Look at this. 5 minutes before Trump announced that he wasn't going to attack Iran's energy, someone bought $1.5 billion in S&P 500 futures. $1.5 billion. That is basically a bet that the stock market is going to go up, which if people think the war is ending, the stock market would go up. They sold $192 million in oil futures, which is basically a bet that oil prices would go down. So they dumped $192 million of it. So they say that order was reportedly 4 to 6 times higher than anything else at the time. Do you know how much money they just made? Do you know how much money they would have lost if that hadn't happened? Tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars in minutes. So you don't risk that much on a guess. Remember, on background, Trump had given Iran 48 hours to open up the Strait of Hormuz, or else he was going to attack their energy. So out of nowhere, on the day of the deadline, Trump says, okay, never mind, I'm not going to do that anymore. And 5 minutes before that, someone made those massive trades. That's why Chris Murphy says, who was it? Was it Trump? Was it a family member? Was it a White House staffer? This is corruption, mind-blowing corruption, he says. This is not the first time this has happened. Apparently, 8 new accounts created around March 21st bet a total of nearly $70,000 on there being a ceasefire before March 31st. 2 days later, Trump announced, he's backing off the strikes and wants to make a deal, a ceasefire. And not just them. The same person who created an account and bet the U.S. was about to strike Iran right before the U.S. struck Iran the first time back in February also made that same trade. Like, I would think these high-ranking people in these high-ranking positions could potentially do insane things to make money because they can bet on it. And that's what I was kind of getting at earlier. What if there's literally things he can't say because his team is saying, don't say this yet. We got to have this bet go through by this time. What's to stop them?
1,000%.
Nothing's to stop them from doing, I bet $1 bajillion this country is going to drop a nuke by this date. And now you have to start wondering, hold on, is the plan for them to drop a nuke by this date on this country because this is what the bet is? They're incentivized to do crazy things. It's becoming very clear.
They manipulating the stock market. 1,000%. They're manipulating the stock market. By him announcing that shit was 100% total manipulation. That's crazy. This is crazy, bro. Yo, Israel is not allies of America. I'm just be like, they just not. They don't give a shit about this country. They don't. We didn't sent them over $380 billion since 1948 to 2024. We didn't sent them billions on top of billions, hundreds of billions of dollars for what? Draining the fuck out
Yeah,
of our economy to
you heard what
support
they
them.
you heard what they said to fund Hamas and
Right.
Hezbollah
Has to
and
be like.
Hezbollah and all the rest of the terrorists around the world that Israel and the United States funds directly and
Right.
indirectly.
Right. That's
It's
what he
crazy.
said. No, yeah, it don't matter who gets in there. They all in support of this Israel shit. I wanted to pull this up with Hillary. This was Hillary when she was running. This was Hillary's message to Iran. Hillary Clinton. Let's
And
get into it.
when this debate is over, we need to come together to ensure that this president and the next president have the tools, resources, and support to send a clear message to Iran. Cheat, and you will pay. And when you threaten the region and Israel, you threaten America. We will keep confronting you on human rights and terrorism, and make no mistakes. We will never allow you to acquire a nuclear weapon, not just during the term of this agreement, never.
See, they always got to create the boogeyman. They always got to create the boogeyman. I just read off. Iran have not obtained any nuclear weapons at all. None. They don't even have a weapons program to even build no nuclear weapon. But Israel does. America does. This is crazy. Yeah, this is crazy. I was trying to hold on real quick, y'all. All right, hold on. All right, bro, you take pull this up.
Yeah, we definitely what we witnessing here is definitely two two birds on the same, basically two wings on the same bird. We definitely witnessing that. Cause it don't matter who you put up there. It could be Clinton up there, it could be Kamala up there, it could be Trump up there, it could be Bush up there. It don't matter who's up there. That money is going to Israel, and whatever Israel does, United States follow behind like a little puppy or like a guard dog. Basically, they could do no wrong in our eyes. Even they could blow up 1,000 countries, and we'd still be like, "Oh yeah, Israel needs protection." No matter how crazy they are, no matter how crazy they get. This proves right here, man. It don't matter who you voting for anymore. The shit don't matter anymore. It just doesn't. You could sit there all day and be like, "Oh, we should have never voted for Trump. Kamala would have been a better decision." And you just heard her up there talking just like how Trump is talking now. All the shit that she would have did to Israel. Same thing with Hillary Clinton. Even if you had voted Hillary Clinton over Trump, you would still get the same stuff. Probably even worse with her. Because Hillary Clinton is even crazier than Trump is. So this all you getting is basically psychopaths up there that support Israel. Greedy psychopaths. You ain't getting nothing up there, man. It ain't no lesser evil anymore when both sides are extremely wicked. So now this is what we have to do. What we going to do as a people now, knowing that it don't matter who we voting for, we voting for wicked individuals that support Israel. And you see what they do. Now it's about what do the people do now?
I wanted to pull this up because let me pull this up one more time before I get into how these motherfuckers fund both sides of the war. But let me start off with Rothschild saying his uncle Walter Rothschild set up the state of Israel. Let me pull that back up real quick.
And let's make this clear: the Israel you see today is not the same Israel that was mentioned in the Bible.
All right.
That is not. This Israel today was brought into power in 1948 by the Zionist movement, who was spearheaded by Walter Rothschild. And most of them were Eastern European Jews that migrated to Palestine and basically begged Palestine if they could set up a city-state there. And that was one of the worst decisions that Palestine ever made. And that's not the Israel from the Bible, y'all. Y'all cut that out. If anything, if you want to mention them, they are mentioned in the Bible as the synagogue of Satan. Since when people want to talk about God and all that, Israel's mentioned in there. The current Israel, 1948, that Israel, the one we see that got a problem with Iran, they're mentioned in the Bible. They're mentioned as the synagogue of Satan. Somebody in the chat said you will be you will give an account for your words. To whom? The account from the words that's in the Bible that said that they're the synagogue of Satan? Take it up with the scriptures that mention this current fake Israel that we got now. They stole the identity of the real Israelites from the scriptures. But they're not. Sorry, but they're not. They are not the Israelites from the scriptures. No.
Damn sure not.
And then they're calling themselves Jewish when the Israelites were Hebrew.
Hebrew, right. So, and this proves right here. That's why I wanted to pull this back up. With the Jacob Rothschild, his family created Israel.
And the difference between let me let them know the difference between the Hebrew and the Jew. The Hebrew is by bloodline. The Jew was by religion. You could become Jewish by accepting the religion. So that's different. So that means you're technically you would be an outsider if you're not Hebrew. Hebrew was the actual. Those are the sons of Isaac and Jacob and all. That's the Hebrew. Abraham and all. That's the Hebrew. Jewish is somebody that's not from that bloodline came in and joined the religion and the culture, and they become Jewish. So that's the difference. That a person who ain't even born that bloodline could become a Jew. I could become a Jew if I accept the religion. Then I'd be Jewish. So it's a difference. A lot of people don't know that. And what the scriptures is talking about, the scriptures ain't even talking about the Hebrews or the Jews when they talk about the Israel. They talking about a spiritual Israel. That's the thing that the scriptures is talking about. And that's not, and you could be in that whether you through the bloodline or not. It's just your mindset, the renewing of your mind. And that's the spiritual Israel. That even go supersedes the Hebrew and the Gentile. But Jews will be considered Gentile. Hebrews will be considered direct bloodline. That's the difference.
All right.
In modern Jewish history, and it begins with 3 words. Dear Lord Rothschild.
Dear Lord Rothschild, I have much pleasure in conveying to you, on behalf of His Majesty's government, the following declaration of sympathy with Jewish Zionist aspirations, which has been submitted to and approved by the Cabinet.
Why was it that this letter was sent by the Foreign Secretary to your great uncle Walter?
It's an interesting question because it was primarily a movement from Eastern Europe, but they didn't clarify who was in charge of that movement. And in addition, it was, after all, in Great Britain. So they felt that the Rothschild family should be the one to whom it was addressed. And Walter was Lord Rothschild, and he was a Zionist. And those really are the background reasons.
So Walter received the Balfour Declaration, and I have a copy here. And I wonder if I could possibly ask you to read it for us.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. I'm going to put on my spectacles to make sure I read it.
Now he's reading a letter of his uncle Walter Rothschild. Well, them setting up the state of Israel. This is 19.
Is it called the Balfour Declaration or some shit
Yeah.
like that? That's what actually established the city-state of Israel in 1948. And he just said that his uncle Walter Rothschild was the head of it.
Yeah.
It was set up by the Zionist movement, who was spearheaded by Walter Rothschild. So
Facts.
they set up Israel in 1948. Israel is owned by the Rothschilds.
Let's continue, because we're going to get into how the Rothschild funds both sides of the war. So that's why we're telling you, when they send money to Israel, Israel is actually funding Hamas and all these other different organizations, so they can keep carrying out these orders. Let's continue though.
Accurately, His Majesty's government view with favour the establishment of Palestine as a national home for the Jewish people, and will use their best endeavours to facilitate the achievement of this object, it being clearly understood that nothing shall be done which may prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine, or the rights and political status enjoyed by Jews in any other country. I should be grateful if you would bring this declaration to the knowledge of the Zionist Federation. Yours, Arthur Balfour.
And here it is, the Balfour Declaration. What do you feel when you see it here?
I genuinely feel it's one of the most extraordinary moments in the history of the Jewish people. If you think it took 3,000 years to get to this, and then you say, how did this miracle happen? It's the most incredible piece of opportunism. I mean, if you think you had an impoverished would-be scientist, Chaim Weizmann, who somehow gets to England, meets a few people, including members of my family, seduces them. He has such great charm and conviction. He gets to Balfour, and he unbelievably persuades Balfour and Lloyd George, the Prime Minister, and most of the ministers, that this idea of the national home for Jews should be allowed to take place. I mean, it's so unlikely. Then he's, starts to fight a difficult battle with the British cabinet, and this letter goes through 5 drafts, as you know. And in the end, it comes out as a rather compromising letter. I mean, the essential point is there for the Jewish community to fasten on to. You have the first bit, which promises a national home rather than the national home. And then you have the bit that nothing that's to be done should in any way harm the Arab community. But you come back to the big point, which is that this is perhaps the greatest event in Jewish life for thousands of years. And it's a miracle.
Bro, people trying to say that we anti-Semitic. Where do we say we hate Jews or anything like that? We basically just told y'all the difference between a Hebrew and a Jew. How's that anti-Semitic? By basically educating you on the difference between Hebrew and Jewish, and that anybody can become Jewish by accepting the religion.
Yeah.
How's that anti-Semitic? How's that anti-Semitic?
It can't be anti-Semitic. No.
We're not talking about hating or harming anyone. We're talking about getting rid of all the hate that's going on through this aggressive regime out here bombing people up. Oh, we anti-Semitic because we against the war? That's crazy to me. That don't even make any sense. That don't even make any sense. That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
This is bigger than that. We talking about wickedness. We talking about people that's trying to fly under the label Jewish, but they're committing atrocious acts under the name Jew. That's disrespect to the real Jews out there.
Right, atrocities. And the thing about it is, you have real Jewish people that's protesting against Israel for what they're doing, the atrocities that they're committing. It's not every Jewish person supports the Zionist movement. Actually,
Right.
a lot of Jewish people don't support the Zionist movement at all.
Facts.
They're not into bombing children and bombing schools and wiping out civilizations.
That's
They're
a
just not.
radical. That's a radical version of a Jew.
Right.
That's a radical version. The Zionist is radical. But they control so much stuff and control so much media that they're able to brainwash people into thinking that they're not really radical. But bombing, airstriking, and bombing people up, that's radical. And then you call the person that you bombing up and you killing up, you call them anti-Semitic. But then you hiding under the name Jews, but you ain't acting like a real Jew. You're too violent to be a real Jew. And that's the thing. So should people that you call out that's Christian, who might do things and become sinners, and they all they do is sin, but they claim they're Christian. So what are they? The Antichrist?
All right.
You know what I'm saying? So what do you call them? You call them the Antichrist?
All right.
These are people that's hiding under the name of something, but they're not acting like it. And you could do that within any religion. You could do that within Muslim too. The whole jihadist movement, going around bombing people up because they're considering them infidels because they're not Muslim. And to tell you the truth, it's the same organizations that's behind both. And they're acting like they're enemies so they could cause all this damage, so they can manipulate the markets, so they can invade countries. This is what's going on. These are people hiding under these labels and committing atrocities. The same thing we've seen with the Catholic Church was doing when they was going around killing everybody up who didn't accept Christianity. They was hiding under the banner of Christianity.
Crusade. The whole crusade.
The whole crusade.
Movement. Yeah.
Hiding under the banner of Christianity and going around slaughtering people up and torturing people who didn't join Christ or the Christian church.
Right. At one point in the scriptures, Paul was persecuting Christians when he was on Rome, for Rome. Remember at the time where Paul was going around killing Christians on Roman orders before he became one of the disciples. So this that's why I wanted to get into this Rothschild, because since we got into Rothschild sponsoring, setting up the state of Israel, I wanted to get into why we was pointing out the fact that they fund both sides of the war. That's always been a specialty, funding both sides of the war. So I wanted to get into that. Let's go ahead and get into that real quick.
He financed kings and their enemies. He built a network that stretched from London to Vienna, from Paris to Naples, long before anyone even dreamed of a global bank. This is the untold story of the Rothschild family, the bankers who didn't just observe history. They engineered it. Their empire became the first global financial network, shaping wars, peace treaties, and even the birth of modern capitalism. But behind the numbers, behind the gold and the ledgers, lies a story of family, loyalty, and one of the most misunderstood names in history. Welcome to the Rothschild Empire, the dynasty that changed money forever. Long before there were skyscrapers or Wall Street, there was a small Jewish banker in Frankfurt, Meyer Amsel Rothschild. Born in 1744 in the poor Jewish quarter of the city, Meyer didn't inherit power. He created it one coin, one connection, one letter at a time. His shop sold coins, antiques, and collectibles to noble families, but his real genius wasn't in what he sold, it was in what he understood. He realized something that most merchants didn't. Trust was currency. While others traded gold, Meyer traded information. He built a network of correspondence across Europe, learning to move money faster than armies and to move information faster than governments. In an age before telegraphs or telephones, Meyer used couriers, his own secret communication network, and that network became the blueprint for what would soon be the most powerful banking family in Europe. Meyer had 5 sons: Amschel, Solomon, Nathan, Karl, and James. And his strategy was simple, yet brilliant. Don't keep your power in one city. Spread it across the continent. Each son was sent to a major European capital. Frankfurt, London, Paris, Vienna, and Naples, each establishing a Rothschild bank. 5 brothers, 5 cities, 1 empire. This was the birth of the Rothschild network, a system that connected royal courts, stock exchanges, and governments in ways never seen before. While others built armies, the Rothschilds built infrastructure. They mastered the art of moving money between nations, making them indispensable to kings and ministers alike. And in the center of it all was one man, Nathan Meyer Rothschild, based in London. He would soon change the course of history. It was the early 1800s. Europe was on fire. Napoleon's armies marched across the continent, reshaping nations. And behind the scenes, money became the real weapon of war. While emperors strategized and generals fought, Nathan Rothschild did something few dared to imagine. He financed both sides. Through his London bank, Nathan provided funds to the British government to sustain the war effort against Napoleon. But his network also allowed him to profit from financial transactions across Europe, from France, Prussia, and Austria. This wasn't treason. It was strategy. By ensuring liquidity, the lifeblood of nations, he positioned the Rothschild bank as the one force that could operate no matter who won or lost. And when the Battle of Waterloo ended in 1815, Nathan Rothschild didn't just survive the chaos, he dominated it. His couriers brought news of Napoleon's defeat hours before anyone else in London. Using that information, he made massive investments in the bond market, buying when panic hit and selling when confidence returned. In one stroke, the Rothschild wealth multiplied, and the family's legend was born. After Waterloo, the Rothschild family became synonymous with financial power. They financed railways, mines, canals, and even national debts. Their letters and couriers connected governments faster than any official channel. In many ways, they built the world's first real-time financial network. The ancestor of today's global banking system, the Rothschild Bank became a bridge between old money and the new industrial age. They understood that the future wasn't just about gold, it was about information flow. Their model inspired what would later become central banking, international credit, and the modern bond market. But power has its price. The Rothschilds were admired and feared. Whispered about in salons and newspapers, accused of everything from political manipulation to secret world control. Though most of these claims were pure myth. The truth: they weren't kings. They were connectors, and in connecting empires, they made themselves essential. Behind the vaults and ledgers, there were people, fathers, sons, brothers. They lived in luxury, yes, but they also lived under pressure. Every decision carried the weight of nations. Letters between the brothers revealed deep affection and intense loyalty. They didn't see themselves as mere bankers. They saw themselves as guardians of stability in a world built on uncertainty. When revolutions shook Europe in 1848, when markets crashed and kingdoms fell, the Rothschild name endured. Why? Because their true asset wasn't gold. It was trust, the same trust Meyer had built in that tiny Frankfurt shop a century earlier. Today, the Rothschild banking dynasty still exists, smaller, more discreet, but still influential. Their descendants oversee private investment groups and wealth management firms in London, Paris, and Zurich. The family's empire has evolved, but its DNA information, timing, and trust remains unchanged. The story of the Rothschild family isn't just history. It's the story of how global banking was born, how a small family network became the template for modern finance, the blueprint, followed by every multinational bank that came after. From funding wars to building nations, from handwritten letters to high-speed data, the Rothschilds taught the world how power moves through money. For centuries, people have debated their motives, exaggerated their reach, even turned their name into legend. But the truth is simpler and more human. The Rothschild empire was built on vision, precision, and an understanding of trust that reshaped the modern world. Because in the end, power doesn't always wear a crown. Sometimes it signs a ledger.
Like we said, them Rothschilds on both sides of the war. They set up the state of Israel in 1948, and that just proves right there. Like the proof is in the pudding. I don't even
He
know
financed
if is there any more to explain when we explain this. Make it clear. We gotta get into a quick commercial break. We'll be right back after these messages. Make sure y'all stay tuned. Make sure y'all smash the like button. Double tap the screen. This video is sponsored by nightandayherbals.com. You can Google us on Google Night and Day Network LLC, and you will see everything that pops up involving us, our our social medias and our herbal website where we sell natural herbal products. But yeah, let's get into this quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
I'm not even gonna lie, the joint pain I deal with every day will slow me all the way down. But ever since I started using this right here, Night and Day Pain Relief Balm, everything changed. And within minutes, I feel the difference. Like real relief. Now I can clean my whole house without even thinking about the pain. As a nurse, I'm on my feet all day, and this right here helps me get through my entire shift. I can actually enjoy time with my kids now. Go outside, be active, without hurting the whole time. It feels good to just live again. Honestly, if it wasn't for Night and Day Pain Relief Balm, I don't think I'd have the quality of life I have right now.
Discomfort slows you down? Reach for natural relief. Night and Day Hemp's extra strength CBD pain relief balm melts into aching muscles, delivering warmth you can feel. Soothe your body naturally. Feel free to move again. Night and Day Hemp balm melts away tension so you can enjoy every moment. Feel the difference fast. Real relief, real results. Order now at Night and Day Herbals.
All right, we are back. The link to our website is in the description of this video, and the link is pinned to the chat. Make sure y'all check out our website. That's nightandayherbals.com. Again, that's nightandayherbals.com, or you can simply just Google us, Night and Day Network LLC, in your Google browser. All right.
Facts.
But yeah, this yeah, of course we know the trolls are gonna come in here and troll. The bots. The bots. Yeah, the bots gonna come in here because they don't like,
Should we give them their favorite? Should we give
yeah,
them
let me put
their
the
favorite
favorite
video?
video back up. Right, let me put the favorite video back up. Put their favorite video right back up here. Hold on. Where that? Here we go. Put their favorite video back up. They hate this video. Yeah, but Trump on some bullshit. This government on some bullshit. Israel on some bullshit, and they all just manipulating the fuck out of the people. Yeah, that's just what's happening.
Lots of manipulation.
Let's see. I'm trying to get this update real quick.
Too much manipulation going on. when people be so brainwashed. It's crazy that people are so brainwashed when basically you point out Israel's crimes. They call that anti-Semitic by pointing out people's crimes. How is that anti-Semitic? By pointing out people's crimes.
I don't know. People don't want to help, hold them people responsible, accountability, hold them accountable. We know they're committing genocide, crimes against humanity. Yeah. Oh, so now they got Bill Gates. Now they going to do a deposition with Bill Gates. Bill Gates going to testify before the House panel with his ties to Jeffrey Epstein. That's what the next. So it says Bill Gates. Matter of fact, let me pull this up for y'all. This is sidebar news real quick that they just put out. All right, this is the Washington Post. All right, so the Washington Post just posted Bill Gates, the billionaire co-founder of Microsoft, will appear before the House committee June 10th to discuss his connection to the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, according to two people familiar with the committee schedule. Gates, the former associate of Epstein, appears in photos and is named in the files related to the late financier. The tech mogul had said that he regrets meeting with Epstein, calling his relationship with the sex offender, which began after Epstein was convicted of sex crimes, a huge mistake. Gates welcomes the opportunity to appear before the committee. A spokesperson said, while he had never witnessed or participated in any Epstein illegal conduct, he is looking forward to answering all committee's questions, support the important works. So yeah, so Gates is basically gonna go up there and lie to, like the rest of them went up there and lied. To say he ain't witnessed anything. Motherfucker, you burnt your
Oh,
wife.
just like the Clintons.
Yeah.
Just like the Clintons went up there and lied.
All right. Your whole wife divorced you because you gave her chlamydia from one of the Russian chicks that he was having sex with. Bill Gates. I when they gonna ask him
If
about
there's
him.
anyone,
Yeah, go ahead. What you
if
gonna
there's
say?
anyone for sure that know about Epstein's crimes, Bill Clinton definitely knew about all of Epstein's crimes because he's been around
Yeah.
him the most. I think Bill Clinton's been around him the most. Besides Naomi Campbell, Bill Clinton Epstein the most, like publicly.
Yeah.
I mean, when he was president, he had him in the Oval Office 17 times. And like we told y'all, having Epstein in your office is like having Israel or the Rockefellers or the Rothschilds in the Oval Office. He was up there 17 times. Bill Clinton flew on the Lolita Express. I wonder if Epstein ever on Air Force One.
All right. Wow.
I wouldn't be surprised.
So Pam Bondi, her deposition will not be. She will not be testifying April 14th. So she's not. They basically her deposition is not going down. So yeah, because we want to know, bitch, why was you fired? Why you going into the private sector, Pam Blondie? You know?
Trump is mad that she didn't shut the Epstein stuff down sooner.
Right,
That
before
she
his name.
complied with the judge's orders of releasing the federal judge's orders of releasing those files to the people within that deadline.
Right.
He fired her because she didn't shut that down. You remember it got so bad that Trump ended up summoning Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah, he summoned Ghislaine Maxwell.
That Epstein stuff was Trump was really trying to cover up some stuff with that Epstein, with those Epstein files. You could tell. He hated when reporters brought it up. You could tell when people got Trump, dead to rights. He started getting real ignorant with you. when you start calling him out for his bull crap. So that's why Pam Bondi got fired, because she didn't handle the Epstein stuff like Trump wanted her to. Think about it.
Yeah. Right.
Think about when they asked Trump about Epstein, the reporter, and this guy's dead. Why we keep bringing up boring stuff like he called it boring. People trying to get justice for all the victims out there and bring the other people to justice, and he talking about boring. It's boring stuff.
Hey, we
Boring
still talking
stuff.
about this Epstein guy?
Yeah.
Right. He said fake news. He quick to call some shit fake news.
Biden didn't release him because during the administration they actually had Epstein locked up and in jail, but they didn't release the files yet because I guess it was too early in the game. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Biden was trying to cover stuff up too himself. But Biden ain't really had no power. Biden didn't even know who the fuck Biden was. So we know Biden really wasn't running nothing. So it was the people who was running the Oval Office around that time, and we know who's running the Oval Office. We stated it multiple times in here. Who's really running the Oval Office? But if you think about it, Trump don't like the fact that Pam Bondi didn't shut that Epstein shit down fast enough, because she was still, the Justice Department and the feds was working together, still trying to, meet the deadline of releasing a certain amount of files each month that was ordered to them by a Supreme Court judge. And Trump and his administration feel like they above the law, so he's mad that they didn't shut it down, that Pam Bondi didn't shut it down. Because you gotta think about it, they getting pressure from the American people. That's another thing. The Department of Justice, the FBI, all of them, they getting pressure from the American people, and we want to know why the people who was associated with Epstein and basically joining in on his crimes, why haven't they been arrested yet? Why haven't all their names been released yet? And the specific crimes that they did? Because it was obvious that Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell didn't work alone. It's not like they were just doing all that, just them two themselves, and they wasn't out there, serving up certain victims to powerful people,
right,
and blackmailing them. Because that already came out that Epstein was part of the whole blackmail operation. So we already know that Trump was probably getting blackmailed at one point, and a lot of his friends, his cronies, are also some of the ones that got blackmailed. So they don't want that list to leak neither. They don't want the blackmail list to leak, and they don't want the Epstein client list to leak. And sometimes those two different lists cross paths, because they could have been a client also, you know what I'm saying, and then got blackmailed, and because the stuff, or they could have just not even have been a client and was just getting spied on by the Mossad or one of them intelligence agencies, because they spy on politicians all the time, and then they're using the information that they gathered from their internet, their data, and all that, and basically blackmailing them with it, just like they did Kristi Noem's husband.
Yeah,
If
Kristi
y'all know,
Noem husband.
if y'all know about,
Titties.
right. He might have not have been an Epstein client, but he's somebody that could have been getting blackmailed. See what we saying? You see how that works? So it's
Yeah,
like,
because it's mighty crazy that them pictures got leaked out
right,
of Kristi Noem husband, well, dressing up in women's clothes and all that. Definitely blackmail. That's definitely a blackmail tactic right there. Letting them know, yes, we got a lot more of this shit. So who ain't playing ball?
right.
Who ain't up there taking orders? Because we got a lot more of this. Where this came from? She's secretary of what the fuck is that again? Was it Homeland Security? Some shit like that.
Who?
Kristi Noem, ain't she like
She's the governor.
secretary of?
She's the governor of North Dakota, or was it South? North Dakota, no, South Dakota, one of those Dakotas. She's the governor of. So that goes to show you right there that they always blackmailing somebody. That's how they able to pull ranks over the people that's in that's in office, and they not really with the Israel shit, but they getting blackmailed. And like you said, they got a lot more videos of Christy Noem's husband out there too.
Yeah, a lot more shit. There's a lot more where that came from.
Right.
Well, yeah, it's a lot more where that came from.
That's how they control them.
Yeah, they had put a little bit out there just to let you look. Look, we got a lot more of this shit.
That's how they control them.
It's either you gonna do what we say, or we just gonna keep destroying you in the media. Simple and plain. That's what I believe. Monica Lewinsky was probably sent up there with from Epstein. I mean, if he had during his presidency, Clinton had Epstein up there more than 17 times in the White House, and then he was up there. He was close friends with Epstein the whole time that Monica Lewinsky shit was going on. So I wouldn't be surprised if she was a honeypot for for Epstein, bro, and got Clinton caught up in some shit.
Hey,
with
man.
that whole scandal with Monica Lewinsky.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised.
Cause that was Epstein's position was to blackmail high level ranking politicians and prime ministers and shit like that. That was his job. That was his duty. And also, to move money around. Yeah, let me pull this shit up real quick. That's what you try to tell you. This shit ain't about no Democrat Republicans. It really isn't at all.
And you know what I realized? That's
What?
something that people have to see for themselves, because if someone's brainwashed by a certain political party,
Yeah.
they'd never see it. They always think is their political party, is the superhero, and the other one is the villain. And some people, you just can't show them that both are the villain to the American people. Both of these political parties, these political party leaders, are the villains to the American people. Period. You can't convince someone who's 100% brainwashed. I tell you that. They really have to see it for themselves. And then you see a lot of people who was for a particular party, and then they woke up to the fact that both parties are corrupt. That's why a lot of people is basically, they hated the fact that they voted for Trump. There's a lot of people who voted for Trump that hate the fact that they voted for Trump. There was a lot of people who hated the fact that they voted for Biden when Biden was in there. And a lot of times these people wake up and they be like, damn, both political parties is corrupt as hell. And you seen that this last election, there was a lot of people out there saying that, they wasn't going to vote for nobody because there ain't nobody to vote for.
Yeah, it was a lot of people that didn't participate in the voting.
And these are people who used to vote Republican or Democrat, so it's from both sides. It didn't matter.
Yeah,
Those
they
people
were a lot.
Yep.
Right.
And we've been telling y'all for years, like since we started talking about this shit on our channel, we was telling y'all it ain't no such thing as Republican or Democrats. They both wicked as hell, both rogue, and they do whatever they need to do to stay in power. And the last thing on their list is taking care of the American people. They do not care about the American people. None of these political leaders care about the American people at all, not even a little bit. They don't. And their track record proves this. Their track record proves this. Who gives a fuck about a Democrat or Republican when everybody's out here struggling now? Both Democrats and Republicans, as far as American citizens, is out here struggling.
Yeah, absolutely.
It ain't flowing the same like it used to.
Yeah.
The price of everything is so high right now, as high as it's ever been.
Yeah, that's the truth.
Yeah.
Where's the
And
lie at that?
it's been like this. It's been like this through both administrations, through Biden administration, Trump's administration. It's been like this through all their administrations. None of that shit matters. That Democrat Republican shit is done. That's a dead dog right there.
Like Nixon said, doesn't matter what political party in there, they both in there to make sure Israel remain sustained. They will not fall. Let me just pull that shit up one more time. I just gotta pull this Nixon shit up one more time. One more time. Let me know if y'all can hear.
Nah.
All right, let me reshare this.
And you can still got some people out here talking about some lesser evil bullshit. Or it's
All right.
like, yeah, lesser evil. Who you gonna vote for? The murderers or the rapists? Which one is the lesser evil? Because that's what your two options are. That's why a lot of people, both Democrat and Republican, said they not voting. They didn't vote. Nobody voted because there was no candidate to vote for. Nobody was going to vote. People wasn't going to vote for no Kamala, and then nobody wanted Trump in there. But you still had the idiots out here voting for the lesser evil, and I guess they thought the lesser evil would be Donald Trump, which proves hell nah, he ain't the lesser evil. And Kamala would have been just as bad as he is.
You make the observation in your book, and you say that you have said it many times when you were president of the United States, that no president is ever going to desert Israel, right?
Correct. I put it more bluntly. I said, as I told congressional leaders during the 1973 Yom Kippur War, no American president will let Israel go down the tube.
All right.
Democrat or Republican, it's not an issue.
That is stated fairly categorically, and yet in your book you make it clear at the same time that Israel really is not of any enormous strategic value to the United States anymore.
That's correct.
So why then would the United States continue to burden itself with huge loans, in some cases outright grants, to the Israelis, jeopardize possibly young American fighting men, when there is no strategic value involved, or little strategic
Because the
value?
United States is concerned by more than strategic values. That's maybe a weakness, but it's the way we are. And there are moral issues involved here. We don't have an alliance with Israel. As you know, they're not an ally of the United States in the technical sense. But we have a bond to Israel that's much stronger. It's a moral commitment because of what happened during the Holocaust, and a moral commitment because it is a democracy, the only democracy in that area. And under the circumstances, that is why American presidents and the American people in the future will support all out the survival of Israel if it's attacked.
You've always been a very tough, pragmatic man. And I just wonder if you were the president of Israel and you heard Richard Nixon talking that way, or for that matter, heard any sitting American president talk that way, and say, but there's really no strategic value anymore, how much faith would you place in that kind of a moral commitment if push really came to shove?
If I were the president of Israel, I put a great deal of faith in it because of the track record of the United States, and also because he would know that that is the way the American people are. There is no doubt whatever of our commitment to Israel.
American people don't really want support. The American people generally don't want to support that shit. They just don't. But it's our politicians that's in place that's forcing us to support this shit. We don't want war. We don't want y'all bombing shit over there. We don't want no wars. The general population want peace. They don't want war. But war is big profit for the corporations. You know, and they get to go in and take over resources of other countries and shit like that. Like he did with Venezuela. Went over there and kidnapped president of Venezuela and took all the oil and gave it to Israel. Yeah, he kidnapped the president, took the money, took the resources and gave all the resources to Israel. It's crazy. Yeah, pretty much. And all these
We
motherfuckers are
got we gotta
Epstein.
ask ourselves,
Right.
why are they protecting Israel so much? Why is the United States government protecting Israel so much, even to the point of neglecting its own citizens? Like, can any of y'all answer that? Like in the comments or in the chat? Why do you feel like the United States is protecting Israel even at the cost of American citizens? What is the real reason behind all of this? What do y'all think is the real reason behind this? Because it's starting to get very extreme. Because this war is really going on at the expense of Americans. Because all right, let's say some shit did break out. Let's say that, which Iran don't. Let's say Iran did have nukes pointed over to the United States, and Trump over there causing problems. Trump and Israel over there causing problems in Iran. So if Iran decided to shoot a nuke over here to the United States, Trump would be safe. Trump would be in a bunker, a fallout bunker. But you know who would have? You know who would mostly get killed? American citizens. And then you got majority of American citizens not even supporting this war, but he putting the rest of the population in harm's way, and he putting Americans who's traveling overseas in those certain countries. He's putting them at danger.
Right.
But him and his family is safe. You get what we're saying? Like,
right. Anything was to go down, they got underground bunkers they could run under and hide underground and survive in fallout shelters with stockpiles of food and all types of shit that'll last them, 2 to 3 years. Yeah.
So all this do is just endanger American citizens and also put us in a poorhouse. Because our economy was already crashing. Yeah, I mean, all these administrations, I don't give a fuck who was in there, has contributed to the $39 trillion debt that we're in. So all these administrations, rather Democrats or Republicans. So why would we go to war to assist? Why would we go to war to assist Israel? Hold on.
Emails that they say
hold
were
on real
written
quick
by Jeffrey Epstein.
Hold on.
That
My bad. Hold on.
explicitly, specific.
Yeah, that was an accident. Hold on. 'Cause I was trying to.
Why would
ahead,
we
bro.
go to war? Why would we go to war to assist Israel? And we're broke. Like America's dead broke. Like we already can't afford to even, finance our lot. You could work 2 and 3 jobs in America and still be able to even survive just buying the basic necessities. And we over there warring with a country that can affect our oil and all of that too. And we already struggling at the gas pumps. So not only are you putting us in danger with a country that you claim have nuclear capabilities and you claim that they're ready to aim a nuke bomb over here, you're also putting us in the poorhouse. And this would have reigned true with anybody who got in office. Because Kamala wanted to do the same thing. Kamala wanted to bomb Iran too. If Hillary got in there, she wanted to attack Iran. So we telling y'all that none of these motherfuckers have Americans' best interests at heart. I don't know how we can still support anybody who's been stepping through that Oval Office. And this guy, he's totally ignoring Congress. He's totally ignoring American citizens. He's even ignoring the Pope at this point. The Pope even trying to talk some sense into him. And the Pope, he's as wicked as Trump is. Anybody that's holding that office over there is corrupt too. So it's chaotic right now. This shit is crazy. Like, y'all understand how chaotic this is? I don't know. As American citizens, people need to not just go after Trump. We need to go after everybody. We shouldn't just be protesting about Trump. We need to protest about Congress, protest everybody, the Senate, everybody up there, your state representative, everybody that holds some type of political office need to be held responsible. Not just the old office.
Yeah, I forgot to pull this shit up.
Not just the executive branch, but also the judicial branch. the legislative branch. All these fucking branches need to be held accountable in 2026 for that national debt, for these unauthorized wars, for putting us in danger, claiming that for protecting Israel. All the money out to Ukraine and Israel, all that shit need to be accounted for. All the audits failed by the Pentagon, that shit need to be brought up. All this corruption that's going on, all this shit, all three branches of the government should be in the hot seat right now. Fuck all of them at this point. The United States government is one of the most rogue governments on the planet, and they're a terrorist organization, along with Israel. I say that, and I'm going to continue to say that, because it's the truth. Look, go Trump.
All right, so this is the Iranian ambassador saying he has no issues with any of their neighbors at all. So what's being spewed in the media about them having issues with any of their neighbors is false. They have no issues with any of their neighbors. And all the shit they being attacked for is they basically just trying to defend themselves, basically. I mean, everybody got a right to defend themselves. They being attacked.
No hostilities with our neighbors. The fact is very clear that we are targeting the U.S. bases, U.S. interest, and U.S. assets in reciprocal action. In response to the representative of the United States, I only want to refer to some remarks of the U.S. President, which has initiated this war of aggression against Iran. On 21st of March, he threatened to hit and obliterate Iran's power plants. On 30th of March, he escalated these threats, going to blow up and completely obliterate critical infrastructure, including power plants, oil facilities, Khark Island, and desalination installation. On 1st April, he declared his intention to bring Iran back to the Stone Age, explicitly threatening to strike all electric generating facilities. On 5th of April, he again openly threatened to target civilian infrastructure, stating that Tuesday will be power plant day and bridge day. There will be nothing like it. And 2 days resorted to language that is not only deeply responsible, but profoundly alarming, declaring that the whole civilization will die tonight, never to be brought back. Such rhetoric is unfitting of any political leader, let alone the head of a permanent member of the council entrusted with the maintenance of international peace and security. I thank you. We have no hostilities with our neighbors. The fact is very...
They say they don't have no hostility with any of their neighbors. All this bullshit bombing going on is due to because they trying to basically go over there and take that country over, take over his they want that uranium too, because Israel really the ones that want to build nuclear bombs. They want that uranium. What's he talking about? What are we talking about here? Come on now. Trying to accuse a country of something that they're guilty of. Loser, slackers.
Man, it's some wild stuff that's going on out here. Some wild stuff. I don't know how people could come in here and disagree with us with what we saying. We saying stuff that's actually, you know what I mean, that will actually support Americans. We going out against the people who's actually destroying America. And I don't understand how people can't see that this war and our support for Israel and how we allowing these corporations to run rampant in our country. I don't see how y'all don't see that that's destroying us. We're literally being destroyed right now, obliterated. Our government spending up $39 trillion like it's nothing, with no accountability and no oversight, and then got us in these bogus wars, man. This is a bogus ass war. Us going into Iran, that's bogus. Us kidnapping the president of Venezuela, that shit was bogus. How we not see that? Why do we feel like we need to go to war and we barely holding on? We ain't got shit in this country at this point. These corporations and these bureaucrats basically destroyed America from the inside out. How do we not see this? How do some people still not? I mean, it's a lot of people who see this, but how are there some people that's so brainwashed that they can't see that this is happening? The brainwashing is crazy, bro.
People like Jeffrey Epstein is now public record. We know that people like Jeffrey Epstein is now public record, were involved as early as 2017 in setting up the scheme of this great pandemic for some investors to make a fortune, such as Bill Gates. Epstein and Bill Gates discussed, matter of public record, of how to get rid of the poor people. And of course, it was used at the same time to push digital ID. Realize it's not just financial activities, it's about all activities. And the programmability is a key feature. The Bank of England asked the government, the politicians in the UK, to give them the power to have programmable digital currency. And that is a control tool. The pilot CBDC projects that are ongoing, for example, this one in Brazil in particular, experts have already found out, yes, it has all those features. You can freeze transactions, you can take people's money away, you can intervene in those ways. Now, the central planners claim we will not abuse the limitless power that digital ID and CBDCs will give us. Okay, well, should we trust them? Well, I can be brief here. I think all of you know examples of how this sort of power has already been abused. Just thinking of Justin Trudeau's ending the peaceful demonstrations by truckers in Ottawa. The bank accounts were frozen. Their ability to buy food is how they got them. Too few used cash and digital currency. Well, they didn't have CBDCs, so they had to pass laws to do it. And that will be very easy once you have CBDCs. The police froze 206 financial products, including bank and corporate accounts, disclosed 56 entities associated with vehicles, facial recognition, even 253 Bitcoin addresses were identified, and PayPal was also shut down. So that's how they can do it. Now, interestingly, no such financial controls had been used previously to stop criminals.
That's really taking place while they.
But of course, peaceful demonstrating citizens. That's when it seems the central planners get pretty creative about how to stop people. And of course, we all know what happened in 2020. Digital ID suddenly were a topic. Vaccination passports as a backdoor to introduce digital ID, and then of course programmability. You can close access if you don't do X, Y, Z, and can be anything the government central planners decide. And now we have the EU commissars already abusing their dictatorial powers that they've had for a while, but now they're showing these powers by declaring polite, very polite, considered critics like Jacques Beau, a Swiss former sort of army officer, in his, just giving his opinions. He's an outlaw now. He's been sanctioned. He can't buy food. He can't leave the country, Belgium, in order to travel back to Switzerland. It is quite extraordinary. Now, on the monetary front, the CBDC is the biggest upheaval in our monetary system in more than 300 years. But the digital aspect is not new. What is happening, therefore, is the centralization, but it's a particular type of centralization. The central banks are ripping up the old agreement between the banks and the central banks, which was that the central banks deal with banks and the banks deal with us. And overall, the banks haven't really abused that. They've never sold our data ever, our transactions data. They haven't. That's really why they've become the enemy, because that's supposed to be a currency that they want to sell and trade, and banks have refused to do that. So the central banks are now stepping into the arena and want to compete against their regulated, the banks. This is like playing football. The umpire saying, well, it's a bit boring. I'm going to join. I'm going to score some goals, but I'll still reserve the right to blow the whistle, give the red card, give the yellow card. Who's going to win that game? So the bank regulators will compete against the banks, because CBDC is just a current account at the central bank. That's what's happening. Of course, this conflict of interest explains what the central banks have been doing. They've been taking anti-bank policies for many decades. Already in 2002, I warned about how the central banks were creating these asset bubbles, banking crises, recessions. And of course, that has continued ever since, unabated. We've got regulatory moral hazard. The more crises they create, the more powers we give them. Each time they demand, oh, it's because we didn't have enough powers, which is not actually true, and should have been stopped earlier. So can we trust the central banks to give them yet more power? I think the answer should be a resounding no. The high inflation that started in 21 was created by the central banks. No matter what they tell you about wars, the economics is very clear. I could forecast it quite successfully from May 2020 onwards, that 18 months later we'll get significant inflation, because the money creation was just massive, off the charts. Then the central banks imposed a fake pandemic. You know that story. And we know that people like Jeffrey Epstein, is now public record, were involved as early as 2017 in setting up the scheme of this great pandemic for some investors to make a fortune, such as Bill Gates. And then we can also make money injecting people with stuff and solve the problem, as Epstein and Bill Gates discussed, matter of public record, of how to get rid of the poor people. And of course, it was used at the same time to push digital ID. Now, this is, you know, what they're giving us is not the only option. We can have prosperity. Their goal is zero growth, negative growth. Germany now, third year of recession, first time since 1933. But actually, we could have high growth everywhere in the world and prosperity for all. How do you do that? 200 years of strong economic growth in Germany were due to many, many small banks, local money creation, money lent to small firms that are the main employer. 60%, 70% of employment is with SMEs. That's how you spread the prosperity. These hidden champions in Germany, where Germany really sticks out, is small firms that are global market leaders. Yes. Now, how's that possible? Because Germany has the largest number of banks in Europe. Well, we should use past tense, had the largest number of banks. And they were mostly small local banks. That is the way.
When they found out Bill Gates and Epstein was cahoosing in the emails, they should have went and locked goddamn Bill Gates right the fuck up. Why they ain't go lock his ass up? They seen that shit in the emails. He should have been locked up on site. When they seen those Epstein emails with him and Epstein conversing back and forth on how they could stage a pandemic and how that could benefit the corporations, they should have locked this stupid ass up. Now they going to have a deposition with him on June 10th. Why his ass ain't getting investigated and fucking charged for fucking scamming and fucking people and being charged for you know, crimes against humanity? A lot of people die behind fucking COVID-19, but they should let that email slip right by, right? But like you said, the people that ain't gonna lock up themselves. These people got 100% immunity, and you know, they never gonna go to jail. You know, so.
To generate prosperity, but the central planners
Bullshit.
Don't like that, and they've been killing banks. So ECB policies have been very successful. Under the ECB, a very young central bank, already 6,000 banks have disappeared in Europe, and surprise, surprise, it's not Goldman Sachs that has disappeared. So last chance saloon, and I'm wrapping up here. The overarching trend of the 20th century was the concentration of power in the hands of fewer and fewer people. Lord Acton, quite wisely, and he was really an observer of politics for many decades, concluded power corrupts. That's the reality. That's human nature. If you give people power and too much power, it will lead to bad results. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. So we have to stop the further spread of digital ID and the introduction of CBDCs. Already Europe is being deindustrialized, economically destroyed. We can't give these central planners that have delivered this yet more powers. Instead, we need to decentralize, break up the concentrated power, oppose digital ID. We are sovereign individuals. We don't need to prove our identity. Somebody wants to check identity, well, that's their problem. We need to oppose digital asset registers and tokenization of our assets and of nature. And we need, most of all, of course, to oppose CBDCs. A decentralized monetary system is the future. Many small local banks in a decentralized fashion implementing subsidiarity, that is proven to be very successful. That's how, excuse me, that's how China became an economic superpower within one generation. They moved from one bank in the Soviet system, central planners loved it, to 5,000 banks with 30 loan officers in 35 branches. That's more than 5 million people checking millions and millions of small firm loan applications for productive business investment. It's easier to find people to govern themselves than people fit to govern others, because those who are currently governing us, they're not fit to do so. Thank you very much.
Get to a quick commercial.
If you crave nature but still shop online, Night and Day Herbals is your dream come true. Discover premium herbal soaps, shampoos, and CBD products. All organic, all for you. Shop now at nightandayherbals.com.
If you haven't, make sure y'all check out nightandayherbals.com. The link is in the description of this video. We sell natural herbal products, natural herbal grown CBD in the form of cigarettes, pre-rolls. We also have organic sea moss, hair care, skincare products on there as well. So make sure y'all check us out, support the shop. Those who ordered from us last week, y'all products has already been shipped out. Y'all should be receiving your products if you haven't already. And we definitely appreciate y'all for supporting our business. We've been in business for the past 7 years, selling natural herbal products, helping thousands of people over the years. You know, so we definitely appreciate y'all. Look us up on Google, Night and Day Network on Google. Matter of fact, y'all in here, just Google Night and Day Network LLC.
Yep, 5 stars on Google. Yep.
Put it in the chat.
Night and Day Network LLC, y'all.
Google Night and Day Network LLC. Type it in your Google search right now. Let me see. Network LLC.
Day Network LLC.
All right. You can check out all the reviews too. Have hundreds of reviews on there. I can check that out. Click in the chat. Put it on the screen. There you go. Y'all can Google Night and Day Network LLC. You'll see us pop right up. Service 24 hours around the clock.
Thanks.
Yep. So
got the highest quality products, highest quality herbal products on the market right now. We got some haters in here. We always have haters in here, but we got some haters in here, man. What's going on? What's up with these people, man? Y'all mad because we got Trump up there on the screen getting arrested?
Let me go ahead and take this down so you can see even more
Y'all
clear.
get
Hold on.
y'all mad as
There
hell
you
that
go.
y'all got Trump on there is shown in this image.
Getting arrested. Right.
Hey, not their beloved Trump. They funny as hell on here.
Mad as shit.
They love Trump.
Yeah, this like the most hated video on YouTube for MAGA.
Yeah, it's definitely one of them.
For the MAGAs. MAGAs hate this video, boy. MAGA be mad as shit coming in here seeing Trump getting arrested.
Right.
Like, how the fuck Trump getting arrested? Is this real or fake? AI slop. They be mad as hell.
AI slop.
It'd be cool if they was showing Kamala getting arrested or Obama or somebody getting arrested. They be cool with that. As soon as you put Trump up there, they're like, oh shit, is that real? Yeah, it's real. It's Israel.
It is real.
Israel. Catch my meaning? I switch it up on them real quick. Give them something up,
Oh,
some
you gonna
other
give them
shit.
somebody else?
Yeah, I give them right there.
Oh, that don't bother them as much. Not as much. Oh, this person just came in here telling us you mad. You mad that Kamala ain't president, isn't the president? I know you ain't talking about us. You must be talking about somebody else. We don't give a shit about Kamala would have been just as bad as Trump.
And Kamala just as bad as Trump. Shit.
Hell yeah. I know you ain't talking about us. We don't give a shit about no Democrat or Republican up in here. They both corrupt. There's no such thing as lesser evil. They both wicked. Both sides are wicked. Yell it to the top. Yell it to the rooftops. Losers. Slackers.
Oh shit. Yeah, I hate both sides. I don't like Democrats or Republicans. And I'm talking about the politicians. The people don't know no better. They should know better, but we separate the politicians from the people because these politicians move on their own. They got orders that they follow. They don't give a fuck about the American people at all whatsoever. So we know who the real, you know, um, owners are and who these people really have to follow. And it's not the American citizens. Rather it's Trump, Biden up there, or whoever the fuck the next president gonna be. It's gonna be another puppet put in place to still carry out the same orders that the previous presidents carried out. So that shit don't matter. The American people need to start sticking more together, though. I tell you that. They whole divide and conquer that they give us. They definitely got us by the balls when it comes to divide and conquer. Motherfuckers can't even agree on the most simple shit. So we know they doing a good job by keeping us divided. Yeah.
He damn sure is.
Man, they spend trillions of dollars to keep people divided. Keep the people divided.
They ain't gonna stop.
They protect it. Yeah, they just there to protect
the key to their power.
Special interests. Right. Yeah, that's the only reason why they're able to remain in power is because the people are under their propaganda, under their spell.
We trying to inspire y'all to see past that. To see past the Democrat and Republican and realize that it's bigger than that. It's bigger than a Democrat or a Republican.
Right, said old people out of touch. I think more than just old people out of touch. AI slop. Maybe
AI slop. It's AI slop. You guys are into AI slop.
These people, shit crazy. But yeah, man. Just trying to see if there's any updates on this shit.
Support. nightandayherbals.com. Make sure y'all head over there, nightandayherbals.com. Go get yourself some relaxing CBD, which is organically grown by the Amish in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Yeah, I mean, go over there and get you some natural soaps and body oils. We have moss on there. So make sure y'all head over there, nightandayherbals.com. Either click on the link at the top of the chat or the description box of this video, or you can go into Google search and type in Night and Day Network LLC, and our website is right there. It'll take you straight to Night and Day Herbals.
Yeah, definitely type it in the browser.
Yes.
And you'll see all of it. You'll see all of our social medias and everything pop up.
Yes.
Facebook, TikTok, X.com, Facebook, Rumble. We on Rumble too. So y'all make sure y'all check us out on Rumble, Night and Day Network on Rumble.com.
Check it out.
All right. What's up with this alien shit? Congress Tim Burchett won't go into detail about something alarming saw 2 weeks ago, but says aliens are real and there have been human contact. So he's saying humans been in contact with some aliens and shit. Yeah, didn't they release the alien files or some shit like that too? It was like the JFK file, the Martin Luther King file.
Right. Distractions.
I wonder if they're gonna bring up that email. Even though it don't fucking matter because he should be in handcuffs, but I wonder, are they gonna bring up that email Epstein between Epstein and Bill Gates about the whole COVID shit? I mean, it was in that file, so I imagine they're going to ask him about that.
They might. I mean, they asked Hillary about the fragile drip.
Yeah, they did ask about. Did they ask about Pizzagate too?
Yup. The Podesta thing. Yup. Pizzagate.
Yeah.
Yup.
They asked about Pizzagate.
They just asked about it, but nothing was done.
Yeah, nothing. Right. Pizzagate.
And that's the whole psychological warfare right there. Got us making us think that they doing something about all this. Asking them a bunch of questions and just sitting there and them denying it ain't gonna get us nowhere. You got them up, you gonna bring them there just so that you know they gonna deny it. You know they gonna deny it. What did those depositions, what did they actually do? Not a damn thing. They just showed us how much good of a liar they are.
Somebody said, is it real? Yeah, it's Israel.
That's the only response these days.
Right. They talking about, is it real? No, it's Israel.
Israel. All right.
Yeah, it's Israel.
It is real. Losers. Slackers.
You know, he got to play on words and shit. Double entendres and shit like that. What y'all know about that? Said this is AI. Nah, it's real. That's really Jeffrey Epstein. Yeah, that's really Jeffrey Epstein.
No, that's Palm Beach Pete.
That's Palm Beach Pete. Yeah. Yeah, that's really Epstein. Said Lane watching AI. Shit. It's Lane watching this fake ass war that's going on. It's Lane watching it fucking the pedophile and sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein and all these clients that he have that ain't going to jail. It's Lane watching these motherfuckers get arrested but don't get prosecuted. It's Lane watching them run up the debt clock with all this fake ass war and funding these people's lifestyle, and it's all that's Lane. How about that? How about that? That's Lane. Y'all making a big deal out of some fucking screensaver on the screen, but let's talk about the real issues that's going on and not get distracted by that shit.
Right.
Because these screensavers are just representations of the shit that they be into anyway. So let's just call it what it is.
Call it what it is.
This is real shit that's happening, ain't it? Was the Epstein files real or fake? Think the Epstein files is fake?
The Epstein files is AI.
Put their favorite video back on there.
Put it up there.
I gotta put the
haters,
slackers,
losers, haters, losers, slackers.
Yeah, you watching? I'm trying to see. Well, let me see if there's any updates on this scandal, this war scandal. All right, so Pam Bondi's live right now addressing. All right, so Levi briefs the Trump's 2-week ceasefire deal. Okay, so they live with some shit. I can pull it up for y'all. I don't know if this Pam. Nah, this ain't. This is that Levi. Leave it brief. Let me pull this shit up. Press conference over an hour ago. So let's pull this up. Just trying to get y'all some updates on the bullshit. All right, calm your asses down.
That's exactly what it is. That's
Gonna be
exactly
alright.
what it is. A bunch of bullshit.
It's gonna be alright. All right, well, let me go down. Pull this shit up. The brief.
People they so fixated on this this screensaver. Y'all so fixated on this shit. Y'all just can't.
All right,
Can't
so
help. Y'all can't resist.
this is a debrief on the 2-week ceasefire, Trump's 2-week ceasefire. So let me just forward this shit because they were just live. Let me just forward it. They need all the standing around shit they doing. Let's get to it. Yeah.
Fake news.
What? There we go. All right.
You can't hurt our president. Our president is doing a great job. Yeah, you gotta pull that drawing up. We don't see it on our end.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I was just, I know. I was just trying to forward it to the part because they just doing a lot of standing around and shit. But I got the when Leave It comes up there, I'll just forward it to that part. All right, here we go. Let me know if y'all can hear it too.
Yep.
Take It Down Act. Yesterday marked the very first conviction under the Take It Down Act, landmark legislation that First Lady Melania Trump played an instrumental role in getting passed that protects victims from non-consensual AI-generated sexually explicit images, cyber stalking, and threats of violence. This is a huge achievement for the First Lady, and I know the president is very proud of his wife's efforts in getting this critical legislation passed to protect America's youth. So we thank the First Lady for her efforts, and we hope that others will report on this historic conviction yesterday. With respect to the 2-week ceasefire announced by President Trump last night, this is a victory for the United States of America that the president and our incredible military made happen. From the very beginning of Operation Epic Fury, President Trump stated this would be a 4 to 6 week military operation to dismantle the military threat posed by the radical Islamic Iranian regime. Thanks to the unbelievable capabilities of America's war fighters, the United States has achieved and exceeded those core military objectives in just 38 days. The U.S. military destroyed Iran's defense industrial base, crushing the regime's ability to manufacture weapons that they and their proxies use to maim and kill Americans and terrorize the world. Iran's ability to build and stockpile ballistic missiles and long-range drones has also been set back by years compared to where it was 6 weeks ago prior to the launch of Operation Epic Fury. We destroyed the vast majority of Iran's ballistic missiles, launcher vehicles, and long-range attack drones through more than 450 strikes on ballistic missiles and approximately 800 strikes on Iran's drone launching units and storage facilities. In total, more than 13,000 targets across Iran were struck. Again, this is in the matter of just 38 days. Meanwhile, the Iranian Navy was completely annihilated. The United States destroyed more than 150 naval vessels in total, including 16 entire classes of Iranian warships. Despite once being the largest undersea force in the Middle East, Iran now has 0 submarine vessels. 97% of Iran's once massive inventory of more than 5,000 naval mines has also been targeted and destroyed. Iran's air forces are functionally and operationally irrelevant at this point, after the United States maintained total air dominance over their country for weeks on end. To underscore the significance of this, before Operation Epic Fury, the Iranian Air Force would fly between 30 to 100 flights per day. Today, that number is 0. Iran's ability to fund and support its terrorist proxies has been greatly reduced. At this point, Iran can no longer distribute weapons to its proxies in the region. And most importantly, Iran will not be able to acquire nuclear weapons. Prior to the start of this successful operation, Iran was aggressively expanding its short-range ballistic missile arsenal. Through these weapons and its navy, Iran was attempting to build a military buildup around their country that would pose an imminent and existential threat to the United States military assets in the Middle East, our allies in the region, and ultimately the free world. Iran was pursuing this dangerous and aggressive strategy for one reason: to hold the entire world hostage to its terrorist ambitions. The Iranians aim to use their expanded military capabilities as a shield around their country to continue achieving their ultimate goal internally, building nuclear bombs. But their murderous and evil plans have been blown up, quite literally and figuratively, along with their military, their nuclear program, and most of their senior leadership, including the former Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Their command and control structures were also massively disrupted after being struck more than 2,000 times. Many of their remaining leaders are paralyzed in fear and no longer enjoy the freedom to move around their country freely and meet openly. Thanks to the unmatched excellence of our warriors at the direction of the Commander-in-Chief, the world has just witnessed a historically swift and successful military triumph. President Trump started Operation Epic Fury with strategic military objectives, and the United States has clearly achieved them. As we mark this progress, we also remember and honor the 13 American heroes who laid down their lives in this noble effort. I know President Trump and our grateful nation honors their ultimate sacrifice, and we will never forget them. May God bless their families. The valiant efforts of all of our incredible service members created maximum leverage for the President of the United States, allowing he and his leadership team to engage in tough negotiations over the past couple of weeks that have now created an opening for a diplomatic solution and long-term peace in the Middle East. The president's maximum pressure and the leverage created by the success of Operation Epic Fury led to the Iranian regime asking for and ultimately agreeing to a ceasefire proposal with the United States. Iran could no longer tolerate being bombed or taking the gamble of what was to come following President Trump's 8 p.m. deadline last night. Iran has agreed to open the Strait of Hormuz, and as the president said, we have received a proposal from the Iranians that has been determined to be a workable basis on which to negotiate. I've seen a lot of inaccurate coverage today from the media about these negotiations and these plans already. So let me be clear and correct the record. The Iranians originally put forward a 10-point plan that was fundamentally unserious, unacceptable, and completely discarded. It was literally thrown in the garbage by President Trump and his negotiating team. Many outlets in this room have falsely reported on that plan as being acceptable to the United States, and that is false. With the president's deadline fast approaching and the United States military completely decimating Iran with each passing hour, the regime acknowledged reality to the negotiating team. They put forward a more reasonable and entirely different and condensed plan to the president and his team. President Trump and the team determined the new modified plan was a workable basis on which to negotiate and to align it with our own 15-point proposal. The president's red lines, namely the end of Iranian enrichment in Iran, have not changed. And the idea that President Trump would ever accept an Iranian wish list as a deal is completely absurd. The president will only make a deal that serves in the best interests of the United States of America, and he as a negotiating team will focus on this effort over the next 2 weeks, so long as the Strait of Hormuz remains open with no limitations or delays. These extraordinarily sensitive and complex negotiations will take place behind closed doors over the course of the next 2 weeks. I would strongly advise the media against running with narratives that have no basis in fact. What Iran says publicly or feeds to all of you in the press is much different than what they communicate to the United States, the president, and his team privately. Never underestimate President Trump's ability to successfully advance America's interests and broker peace. President Trump has a proven track record of achieving good deals on behalf of the United States and the American people, and he will only accept one that puts America first. With that, I will take your questions today. I'm sure you have a lot of them. In our new media seat, we have Shane Harris with the AMAC Newsline. Shane, thank you for being here. Why don't you kick us off?
Yeah, thanks for having me, Caroline. I have 2 questions for you. First, following the president's announcement of the ceasefire, if this is indeed the end of hostilities in Iran, what is the president's message to the American people about what was achieved for our country through Operation Epic Fury?
Sure. I think I just laid out a significant portion of that in my opening remarks. 6 weeks ago, the president looked the American people in the eye directly, and he told them that he launched this operation to take out the imminent threat that was posed by Iran. And that threat has now been greatly destroyed. Their Navy, their missiles, their defense industrial base, and their desire and their plan to build a nuclear bomb inside their country is no longer going to be allowed, can no longer happen, thanks to the remarkable success of Operation Epic Fury over the course of the last 38 days. That has been absolutely achieved, and now we're moving into the next phase of this, which is a negotiating period to put some fine points on this and to hopefully broker an agreement that can achieve long-term peace in the Middle East.
Yeah, and then second, what is the president's message to American seniors who have a much higher voter participation rate and they're likely to be a key swing vote in the midterm elections?
Well, the president loves our seniors across the country. And as you know, the president signed the One Big Beautiful Bill, the Working Families Tax Cut last year, which greatly reduced taxes on Social Security for our seniors. In fact, thanks to the Working Families Tax Cut, nearly 90% of seniors will no longer pay tax on their Social Security. That's a huge win for our seniors and also for our middle class and working families across the country with the no tax on tips provision and the no tax on overtime. Next week is tax week. You'll hear a lot from the president about how his policies have benefited the American people. And I'm proud to report that the president will be traveling next week to the great states of Nevada and Arizona to tout this historic accomplishment over the course of the next week. Thank you for being here, Shane. Gabe.
Thank you, Caroline. Iranian state media is saying that Iran has now closed off the Strait of Hormuz today in response to Israeli attacks on Lebanon. What's the White House response to that? And you just listed many military successes. I understand that. But strategically, how is the administration arguing that Iran does not have more economic leverage than it did before the start of it?
Sure. Well, with respect to the first reporting out of Iranian state media, the president was made aware of those reports before I came to the podium. That is completely unacceptable. And again, this is a case of what they're saying publicly is different privately. We have seen an uptick of traffic in the Strait today, and I will reiterate the president's expectation and demand that the Strait of Hormuz is reopened immediately, quickly and safely. That is his expectation. It has been relayed to him privately that is what's taking place, and these reports publicly are false.
Caroline, the president yesterday threatened that a whole civilization would die if a ceasefire deal wasn't reached, understanding that Iranian leaders have previously said death to America. But why is it appropriate for the president of the United States to use that kind of language when talking about civilian targets? And was the president mocking Islam by signing off his True Social post over the weekend, praise be to Allah? Wouldn't that antagonize Muslim allies across the world?
Well, I understand the questions about the president's rhetoric, but what the president cares most about is results. And in fact, his very tough rhetoric and his tough negotiating style is what has led to the result that you are all witnessing today. Iran publicly acknowledging last night that they have agreed or that they wanted this ceasefire with the United States because they no longer could tolerate being bombed by our very powerful and lethal military, and that they have committed to the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, which the president will hold them accountable for. And it's something the administration is closely monitoring in real time.
So,
Danny.
Should the world not take his word seriously?
The world should take his word very seriously in understanding that the president is always most interested in results. And it was the Iranians who backed down, not President Trump. He said that they would face very grave consequences, as you just laid out, by the 8 p.m. deadline if they did not agree to reopening the Strait of Hormuz. And what did they do last night? They agreed to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Danny.
Thanks, Karen. Would President Trump like to see Lebanon included in this peace deal? As you know, there have been increased Israeli strikes on Lebanon today with dozens of casualties there.
Sure. Lebanon is not part of the ceasefire. That has been relayed to all parties involved in the ceasefire. As you know, Prime Minister Netanyahu put out a statement last night in support of the ceasefire, in support of the United States' efforts. And he's also assured the president they'll continue to be a helpful partner throughout the course of the next 2 weeks.
Is there any thought, though, that the president might like to see Lebanon included at a future date, given that it seems to be causing or potentially undermining the Iran ceasefire?
Again, this will continue to be discussed, I am sure, between the president and Prime Minister Netanyahu, the United States and Israel, and all of the parties involved. But at this point in time, they're not included in the ceasefire deal. Jeff.
Thank you. Caroline, will the U.S. take part in talks with Iran in Islamabad on Friday?
I can announce that the president is dispatching his negotiating team, led by the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, Special Envoy Witkoff, and Mr. Kushner to Islamabad for talks this weekend. The first round of those talks will take place on Saturday morning local time, and we know we look forward to those in-person meetings.
What role does the president see for the U.S. in monitoring or helping with the Strait of Hormuz going forward?
I think the president commented on that this morning. We're going to continue to monitor it very, very closely. We will be helpful in any way that we can, but we fully expect Iran to do this, and the president has made that quite clear as well. It's, again, as his statement said last night, the ceasefire is subject to the safe reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. Again, this was just determined last night. We understand things take time, but that's the president's expectation, and he will hold everyone to it. Sure, in the green blazer.
Thank you, Carol.
Sure, and then in front of you. But Andrew, you can go ahead.
All right.
You're not wearing a green blazer.
I am actually wearing a green blazer.
It's a little brown to me, but go ahead.
Fair enough. Regarding the president's rhetoric, when the U.S. invaded Iraq in 2003, George W. Bush said in a message to the Iraqi people that the military campaign was directed, quote, against the lawless men who rule your country and not against you. Yesterday, the president threatened to destroy Iran's civilization, the entire civilization. Not the Iranian government, but the Iranian civilization, the Iranian people. The U.S. has been a moral leader for most of its history by fighting wars against other governments, not against civilizations. How can the president claim that America can ever have the moral high ground if he's threatening to destroy civilizations and not casting wars as fights against other governments?
Andrew, I think you should take a look at the actions of this president over the course of the past 6 weeks and the actions of our brave men and women in our United States military who have taken out essentially taken out the military of a rogue Islamic regime that has chanted death to America for 47 years, that has killed and maimed thousands of American soldiers over the course of the last 5 decades. The president absolutely has the moral high ground over the Iranian terrorist regime, and for you to even suggest otherwise is frankly insulting.
With all due respect, Caroline,
Go ahead.
with all due respect,
Go ahead.
there is
just given what we've seen in Lebanon today and the increased attacks from Israel, I mean, is there any concern that Netanyahu is trying to kill the ceasefire?
The president spoke with Prime Minister Netanyahu last night. And in that private conversation, Prime Minister Netanyahu relayed exactly what he said to the world publicly, that he supports the president and Israel remains a key ally and partner to the United States. They've been a tremendous partner over the course of the past 6 weeks, and we thank them for their heroic efforts as well. The president had that conversation last night, and that was relayed to the world publicly as well. Reagan, go ahead.
Caroline, I have a question for you on Iran and then a question on the Dignity Act as well. On Iran, it's been reported that the ceasefire was struck after the involvement of 2 unlikely factors, J.D. Vance and China. What role did those parties play in striking a deal?
Well, Vice President Vance has played a very significant and a key role in this since the very beginning. Of course, he's the president's right-hand man. He is the vice president of the United States. He's been involved in all of these discussions. And as I just announced, he'll be leading this new phase of negotiations in Islamabad later this week. With respect to China, there were conversations that took place between top levels of our government and China's government. The president has great respect for President Xi and a great working relationship with him and with that country. And he looks forward to visiting China in just a few weeks.
And on the Dignity Act, it's getting a fresh push through Congress. It would give some illegal immigrants in the country a path to citizenship. What's the White House's position on this legislation, and would the president sign it if it made it to his desk?
Honestly, Reagan, I haven't spoken to the president about the legislation, but I will have that conversation and we'll get you our formal position on it as soon as we can. You're welcome. Go ahead.
The president suggested in an interview this morning that he would support a joint U.S.-Iranian venture to charge tolls for ships going through the strait. Does the president believe that the U.S. should earn revenue from the Strait of Hormuz going forward?
It's an idea the president has floated, as you know, and it's something that will continue to be discussed over the course of the next 2 weeks. But the immediate priority of the president is the reopening of the strait without any limitations, whether in the form of tolls or otherwise.
You know, on the highly enriched uranium, has Iran given the administration any indication that it would simply turn over the enriched uranium, or is this an expectation that the president has that he would have to send in ground troops in order to do that?
This is on the top of the priority list for the president and his negotiating team as they head into this next round of discussions. And as I said in my opener, that is a red line that the president is not going to back away from. And he's committed to ensuring that takes place. We hope it will be through diplomacy.
Have they given any indication that they would turn it over?
They have.
They have.
Yes. Trevor.
The latest news out of Iran is that the air defenses have been activated in several cities, including Isfahan, and that explosions have been heard in Isfahan. Who is bombing Iran right now?
Were those reports just as of a few minutes ago?
Yeah.
Okay, so obviously I'll have to go back and check with the national security team. I'm standing out here with all of you, but I will do that and we will get you an answer, okay?
And just on the civilization question that we've been talking about.
And I would just add to that point, again, I haven't seen these reports. I'm not verifying them. Not that I don't trust you, Trevor, but I want to go back and check with the experts here at the White House. I would just say, and I would echo what the vice president said this morning, this is a fragile truce. Ceasefires are fragile by nature. We've seen this with respect to the 12-day war with Iran and Israel last year. It takes time sometimes for these ceasefires to be fully effectuated. And one of the results of Operation Epic Fury was we completely dismantled Iran's command and control center, which makes it difficult for them to pass messages up and down the chain. And so we understand that. I would caution a little bit of patience, but of course we want to see the ceasefire effectuated and abided by all parties as quickly as possible.
Thank you. And the American presidential administrations, going back to Ronald Reagan, have said this formulation about nuclear war, that a nuclear war cannot be won and must never be fought. Is that still the view of this administration, given the president's comments about civilization?
I have no change in our view on that policy.
Caroline.
Katie.
Thanks, Caroline. I'm just, given the gravity of what he said yesterday, what was your understanding of what he meant when he said, this civilization is going to be eliminated?
I think it was a very, very strong threat from the president of the United States that led the Iranian regime to cave to their knees and ask for a ceasefire and agree to reopening the Strait of Hormuz. So it was a very strong threat that led to results. And as the Secretary of War stated at the Pentagon this morning, it was not an empty threat by any means. The Pentagon had a target list that they were ready to hit go on at 8 p.m. last night if the Iranian regime had not agreed to open the strait, which they did. And I think that's something we should all be grateful for.
The United States is a moral leader in the world, given that
I was asked this exact same question by your colleague Andrew in the back. And I think, again, the insinuation by anyone in this room that Iran somehow has the moral high ground over the United States of America is insulting, considering the atrocities that they have committed against our people and our military over the past 5 decades. John, go ahead.
Thanks a lot, Caroline. 2 questions for you. One has to do with a statement, a joint statement put out this morning by some of America's European allies, our NATO allies. And in that joint statement, they said regarding the Strait of Hormuz, our governments will contribute to ensuring freedom of navigation in the Strait of Hormuz. What's the administration's reaction to that joint statement? Does that smooth things over when the president meets with NATO Secretary General a little bit later this afternoon?
I have a direct quote from the president of the United States on NATO, and I will share it with all of you. They were tested and they failed. And I would add, it's quite sad that NATO turned their backs on the American people over the course of the last 6 weeks, when it's the American people who have been funding their defense. As you know, President Trump will be meeting with Secretary Ruta in a couple of hours here at the White House, and I know he looks forward to having a very frank and candid conversation with him.
And then secondly, in regards to this conflict, 38 days, as you pointed out, President Trump has said that there's been regime change. Has that regime change led to more freedoms for the Iranian people?
I think that's a question that's being asked a little bit too early, John, and we hope that is the case, but it's something that has yet to be seen. Eamon.
Caroline, on this question of tolling by the Iranians in the Strait of Hormuz, I've heard you talk about a number of red lines that the president has in this negotiation, but I haven't heard you say that Iranian tolling in the Strait of Hormuz is a red line. Would it be acceptable to the United States at the end of all of this if the Iranians are able to charge tolls in the Strait of Hormuz?
I think the president was very clear and simplistic in his language last night in his Truth Social post, where he said that this ceasefire is subject to the free, safe, and immediate reopening of the Strait of Hormuz. That's very plain language, and it should be taken at face value.
I mean, free
Carrie.
charge?
Carrie, go ahead. Without limitation, including tolls, yes. Carrie.
Quick follow-up on the attorney. Why would the U.S. allow Iran to collect tolls in the Strait of Hormuz? That's not something that we've opposed for a number of years now.
Again, that's not something we've said that we've definitively accepted. The joint venture is something that was proposed by the president, but he was very clear in his statement last night. He wants to see the strait reopened immediately without limitation, and that's something we're going to hold them to.
A second question
on family and friends in Iran. I myself am Iranian, and I've been talking to them through the blackout. One of my family members yesterday said goodbye to me. So what message should we be sending Iranians when they message me saying, what should they be doing right now? How should they stay safe? Because they really don't know what to do.
I think the president's main priority, and my main priority as his spokeswoman, is to make sure that clear messages are sent to the American people, of course, which is my job today. With respect to the Iranian people, the president, has taken out the imminent threat that was posed by their military to the United States, to our allies in the region, to our forces in the region. And of course, as the president has long said, he hopes that Iran will be a country of peace, of prosperity, and we're moving into this next round of negotiations to hopefully come to an agreement with this new regime that will create long-term stability in the Middle East.
He has said that they should stay inside of their homes and also take back their country. So there's a contradiction there. So how do you address that?
Again, we're moving into this next round of negotiations with the remnants of the regime and those that we are speaking with now to hopefully reach a place of peace long-term for the region, and that includes the Iranian people as well. In the blue, go ahead.
Thank you, Kelly. The White House posted the statement from the Iranian government that passage in the strait will be coordinated with Iran's armed forces. As of today, who controls the Strait of Hormuz?
Again, these statements were put out 12 hours ago. We expect that the strait will be opened immediately. As I said earlier, we have seen an uptick in traffic in the strait, and it's something that we are monitoring minute by minute, hour by hour as the days go on.
Who controls the strait right
now? One on the deportations of Iranian officials, and then on the negotiations. Are there still security concerns about Vice President Vance being part of these peace talks? Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner. And then two, given the ongoing deportation of General Soleimani's niece, does the Trump administration plan to deport more relatives or people in the families of Iranian officials that are in the U.S.?
Certainly, anyone who is here fraudulently. I understand one of the individuals who their visa was revoked by Secretary Rubio and they were deported by ICE. They had a fraudulent asylum claim. That's against the laws of the United States. So anyone who is here illegally or fraudulently is subject to our nation's immigration laws and will be removed from our country. And I know this continues to be a top priority for the State Department, working in conjunction with the Department of Homeland Security. With respect to the safety of the Vice President, we fully trust the United States Secret Service to do their job, to keep the Vice President and the President's negotiating team safe. They do a tremendous job, and we fully trust them to do that.
Caroline.
In the back, go ahead.
The president said Cuba is next. What's the message to the American people regarding Cuba, and what can Cubans expect in relation to the statement?
Well, look, I think when President Trump said that, and he later clarified after making that statement, that he meant the Cuban regime is bound to fall. The country is very weak. They're in a very weak position economically, obviously, financially. The Cuban people are fed up with their government, as they should be. And these talks and discussions continue to happen at the highest level of our government. I don't have any updates or announcements for you with respect to Cuba policy today. Good to see you.
Thank you, Caroline. Secretary Hegseth said this morning that U.S. troops would be sticking around. Can you expound upon that, what we should expect from U.S. troops in theater for the next 2 weeks and beyond?
I would defer you to the Pentagon for any specifics on assets that have been in place in the Middle East, but take the Secretary at his word. And also the President has reiterated this as well in his own words, that we're not going to move anything immediately. Again, this is a 2-week ceasefire where we hope at the end and we expect at the end we'll have a good agreement between the United States and Iran. But in the meantime, we're going to ensure that our military is always at the ready of the Commander-in-Chief. I'll take a couple more in the back. Sure.
Thank you.
On NATO, I'll take your question. Go
Thank
ahead.
you, Caroline. On NATO, can you tell me, is the United States still considering withdrawing from NATO? Is that still a possibility?
It's something the President has discussed, and I think it's something the President will be discussing in a couple of hours with Secretary General Ruta, and perhaps you'll hear directly from the President following that meeting later this afternoon. Thank you, everyone.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen.
You have it.
Yep. There you have it. That was the press conference. That was the update on the ceasefire. Shout out to y'all tuning in, man. Make sure y'all hit up nightdateherbals.com. Check out our website. It is pinned to the chat and the description of this video. And make sure y'all Google us on your browser, Night and Day Network LLC.
Right.
All right. Oh, my bad, y'all. Stop that. Back to regular scheduled programming.
I know, right? Man, we want to thank y'all, man, for the support. Thank y'all.
Yeah, that was
tuning in.
Yeah, that was Trump's heart life support.
That's funny.
We appreciate y'all tuning in, man.
Night and Day Network
like I
LLC.
said,
Make sure y'all type that in your Google search. See,
and
we got
subscribe.
5 stars. Yep. Subscribe to our channel.
Yeah, we will be live again, most likely tomorrow at 12 o'clock. So make sure y'all be back here tomorrow. Subscribe to our channel. Make sure you click on our notifications for when we go live, because we got a lot more shit to cover.
Yep.
All right, a lot more content coming. Somebody said so effing fake. They hate this video. This is MAGA.
Haters.
This is MAGA #1 hated video on social media.
What they call them, magatards.
Yeah, this is the #1 hated video on the internet right now for MAGA. It's Trump getting arrested.
Libtards, magatards, voter-tard.
Yeah, y'all think Trump should be getting impeached or arrested? Press 111 in the chat. If y'all think Trump should be getting arrested or impeached for war crimes. If y'all love Trump, press 222 in the chat. If that's your favorite president in the world.
I love Dump.
I love Dump. Is your mother gay? Is your father gay? Somebody say, are y'all gay? Is your mother gay? Is your father gay?
Losers. Slacker.
Is Trump gay?
Didn't they say he gave Bill Clinton head? Didn't they say Trump did that?
Is that Obama the gay Kenyan? Yeah, that's what they say. They say, yeah, because he, yeah, that's what they said. And that's what they be saying. They be calling Michelle Obama Michael. And they call him Obama. Yeah, they be going in. Yeah. That's what they be saying.
Losers.
Yeah, we independent thinkers on here. We don't give a fuck about Trump or any of them motherfuckers or Biden or whoever your favorite politician is. We hate them.
Right.
And not so much just hate them, like, because like y'all like to say hate is a strong word, but we hate what they do. We hate what they represent. We hate both sides. We hate with Democrats or Republicans. There's really no separation. We gotta get that out of our minds. There's no separation. There's no separation. Democrats and Republicans are working for the same establishment. Let's just clear that up. Let's get that into our minds. Democrat, Republicans, politicians, they all work for the same establishment. Let's just get it out the way. They all work for the same central banks
Israel.
in Israel. Yeah, Israel. Yeah, Israel.
Yeah, central
Israel.
bank.
Yeah, Israel. Israel. That's what they all work for. Israel. Israel. Israel.
Losers, slackers.
They said y'all goofball. Nah, we telling the truth though. They all work for Israel. Let's get it out the way. Let's keep it real in here. Both sides support Israel, and they support this. They support these wars. Somebody called him Diaper Donnie. Diaper Donnie. They call him Donald Trumpstein too. That's his other name, Donald Trumpstein. Bill Clintonstein. Yeah, Bill Clintonstein and Trump Donald Trumpstein.
Donald Trumpstein.
They said time to put him in the straitjacket. Yeah, Donnie getting up there. He losing his mind up there at the White House. Biden lost his mind a long time ago. I think Biden lost his mind before he even got into the White House. I think they put him in there. It's like the movie The Exorcist, where the what's the character from The Exorcist? They call him Damien or something like that. Remember he was going into nursing homes and taking over their mind in the movie The Exorcist. I think that was Exorcist Part 3. I think that was Exorcist movie Part 3 when they was.
It was Part 3.
Yeah, when Damien was going into the nursing homes and taking over the old people minds and making them kill people and stuff like that. That's what happened with Biden. It's like Damien took over Biden's whole mind, and Biden was up there. He was up there crawling on, the White House ceiling, sniffing. First of all, he was sniffing lines first. He was doing his line of cocaine, smoking his pipe of crack, and he was climbing on White House ceilings up there. That's what he was doing. Yeah, pretty much.
With the assistance of Hunter.
Hunter Biden was maybe Hunter Biden was Damien.
See, y'all, we just don't talk about Trump and the MAGA-tards. We talk about the libtards also.
Hold on.
The libtards and the MAGA-tards. Both are tards.
Hold on. Hunter was up. Hold on, though. Who cocaine y'all think that was that they found on the White House floor?
Hunters or
y'all put in the chat who y'all think that cocaine was they found on the White House floor?
Hunter or Joe's? Was it Joe's or was it Hunter's?
Was it Joe Biden's or Hunter Biden's cocaine they found? Y'all put in the chat or in the comment section. Who y'all think cocaine that was they found up there? Somebody said both.
Definitely both. Sleepy Joe.
Johnny Boy said it was a party bag. I agree with Johnny Boy. He said that cocaine they found up there at the White House was a party bag.
For sure. I agree with that too. For sure.
I wonder how much it was that they found though. How much did they ever say how much they found on the White House floor?
They didn't even say. It could have been a whole brick just laying on the damn floor.
It could have been a kilo of crack cocaine. A kilo of cocaine laying on the White House floor. Yeah, Don Jr. used to be on cocaine. Right. Yeah, Don Jr. used to be on. He might still be on cocaine though, because he used to go to a school in our area and shit. Them schools where they send off the famous kids and all that. But Don Jr. used to go there. He used to buy cocaine, man. He used to buy weed and cocaine. And he already got caught. They already got caught for using cocaine. But they all their kids use cocaine though. I can't just say Don. Yeah, it just ain't Don Jr. Hunter was smoking crack on camera. We actually seen Hunter with our eyes, everyone. Was our eyes deceiving us when we seen Hunter Biden smoking on crack in a crack house, beating up a crack whore on camera? And he was weighing crack cocaine on the scale. Yo, when I see him actually weigh the crack cocaine on the scale, because we already seen him smoking the crack, but he was in a crack house with crack cocaine on the scale, saying that, yeah, this is about 2.8 grams of crack. I'm like, buddy, that scale say 28 point something grams of crack. He don't even know how to weigh his crack cocaine out. He like cheating himself out of crack. Like, how you cheating yourself out of the crack you weighing?
Because he got infinite money to buy as much crack as he wants. So he don't care.
Right.
And he got connections, CIA connections to get the best.
Hold on. So Biden, Hunter was able to smoke all that crack, beat up a crack whore, and still get pardoned before his mindless ass daddy get out of office?
Yep. You got it.
I don't know about y'all, but look, somebody said Curry Bro's been outside. Hey man, listen. But Biden Hunter was up there smoking lots of crack. I mean,
lots of it. Tons of crack went through those lungs. Tons of crack smoke. Clouds, infinite clouds of crack smoke went through those lungs.
When I seen the video with Hunter Biden on the beach with a bubble coat on, I knew he was high off crack. I said, bro, it's hot as fuck out there, and you got a long ass bubble coat on. I know you high on crack. And crack make them cold, cause all that sweat
crack
you be doing.
Cold.
Yeah, all that crack make him sweating and stuff. So all that crack making them cold. So him and his chick had on winter coats on the beach and shit. And it was hot out there. So I know they was high off crack.
They was in another whole dimension, fam. That's why they were out there like that. We seen them in one dimension where it was hot as hell and they got coats on. They was somewhere in Antarctica somewhere in their dimension. Cold as shit out there on that hot ass beach. High and cold. High and cold.
Right.
Cold and high.
Yeah, he was smoking a lot of crack. Yeah, we covered that too. We covered that video. Of Hunter Biden. Like all the videos he put out of smoking crack. I think there was a lot of videos he put out with him smoking crack. I think one of them he was like in a shower in the green room, like in the shower, sitting on the floor smoking crack.
That was weird as shit.
That was weird as shit. I was like, why? Like, who was why would you? Like, what crackhead y'all know set up a camera to record themselves smoking crack? Like, what crackhead do that? Like, he's the only crackhead in history I ever seen set the camera up for himself and smoke crack on camera. Now, you might catch a crackhead smoking crack because someone else is filming it, but he actually filmed himself smoking crack. So what y'all think was the motive? What was the motive behind Hunter Biden filming himself smoking crack and weighing crack on the scale?
I'm still confused about that. I still haven't figured that out to this day. Why you would sit there and record yourself smoking crack? I have no idea. I've never seen nothing like that before.
Somebody say maybe because he knew he wasn't never going to go to jail behind it. Maybe that was like a social experiment, a crack social crack experiment. Like, let me see if a politician kid could smoke crack and actually get away with it.
It had to be something like that because there's no other explanation. I thought that out for a long time. I was trying to make up shit and nothing. You know what I mean?
Or you trying to make up why he was
why would he film himself smoking crack? Like, what's the point of all that? Yeah, because it's not even like somebody was sneaking and recording him. He's literally positioning the camera so it could show him smoking crack. Yeah, I ain't never seen no shit like that before. Yeah, that was something completely different.
That boy Hunter Biden different. Now we heard about
maybe that was somebody wearing a Hunter Biden mask.
Nah, that was That
I
was
know
Hunter.
I know that was Hunter himself.
Yeah, that wasn't no mask. That was
Cause
Hunter
I
smoking
still
crack.
can't justify the fact why somebody would sit there and set a camera up and film themselves smoking crack. That's not even crack is not even a cool drug to smoke. It's not like he was smoking some bomb ass weed or something. Now people do that with weed all the time, but crack cocaine?
I know. Maybe we need to ask. Maybe we get to get Ja on the phone so he can make sense of all this.
Ja Rule, get somebody call Ja Rule.
Somebody call Ja Rule so he can make sense of all this.
People still stuck on this damn Trump video. Man, this is a controversial video right here.
Hell yeah. It's the most hated MAGA video ever.
It is. The MAGA-tards hate this. The libtards love it, but the MAGA-tards hate it.
You hope. Shit crazy.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Are you not entertained? Isn't this why you here?
Fake for clicks?
Nah, we don't fake for clicks.
Nah, we ain't faking for clicks.
Somebody says, this for real? But yeah, man.
Yeah, it's Israel. It is
Israel.
It is real.
That's crazy. Yeah, also. Oh.
Losers. Slackers.
Oh.
Man, I hope y'all enjoyed this stream, man. Make sure y'all
please.
subscribe if y'all just getting in here and click the notification, turn all notifications on for this channel. After you subscribe, like and share this video. Those of y'all on the verticals, make sure y'all double tap the screen. That's how you like this video. And if you haven't already, head over to nightandayherbals.com. Get yourself some of our herbal CBD, which is organic, grown on small Amish farms, highest quality CBD you'll ever buy. We got CBD in the form of pre-rolls. We got herbal cigarettes with CBD. We got herbal soaps. We got balms. We got CBD lotion. So make sure y'all head over there. We got hair care, skincare products, hoodies, all types of stuff. nightandayherbals.com. The link is pinned to the top of the chat. It's also, you can scan the QR code on the screen, or you can just go to Google and type in Night and Day Network LLC, and we'll pop up. You know, click on the website, and it'll take you straight to Night and Day Herbals.
Yeah, definitely click on your browser and Google us, Night and Day Network LLC on the browser. Or you could go to Gemini, type it in Gemini or Chat GPT. You'll see all that we, don't get us confused with Night Media, which is I think that is ain't that Mr. Beast that used to manage Mr. Beast? We are not Night and Day Media. We're not Night Media. Because they be having us confused on there with Night Media that that used to manage Mr. Beast. That's not us. We are Night and Day Network LLC, Night and Day Talk Media, or Night and Day Herbals. And of course, we got Night and Day Cartoon Network, Night and Day True Crimes. You'll see all of our all our YouTube channels and all that shit pop up. Facebook, Night and Day Network, Instagram, Night and Day _network, TikTok, Night and Day _network. So just type in Night and Day Network LLC, you'll see us pop up. Definitely appreciate y'all tuning in. And get familiar with us. Make sure you click the subscribe button, turn on all notifications for when we go live again. And appreciate y'all tuning in. I don't know, bro. Anything else?
That'd be it, y'all.
Not for the people. That's it. And on that note, hold on. Let me switch to this. For all you bots. So all you Agent Smiths that come in here.
I'm not even gonna lie. The joint pain I deal with every day, you slow me all the way down. But ever since I started using this right here, night and day pain relief balm, everything changed. And within minutes, I feel the difference. Like real relief. Now I can clean my whole house without even thinking about the pain. As a nurse, I'm on my feet all day. And this right here helps me get through my entire shift. I can actually enjoy time with my kids now. Go outside, be active, without hurting the whole time. Feels good to just live again. Honestly, if it wasn't for night and day pain relief balm, I don't think I'd have the quality of life I have right now.
Comfort slows you down. Reach for natural relief. Night and Day Hemp's extra strength CBD pain relief balm melts into aching muscles, delivering warmth you can feel. Soothe your body naturally. Feel free to move again. Night and Day Hemp balm melts away tension so you can enjoy every moment. Feel the difference fast. Real relief, real results. Order now at Night and Day Herbals.